Okay, can you guys also confirm if you can see my screen and able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so today the topics that we will be starting are some high-end processes, a little bit more advanced. So we will go through them, and again, some of these items are also covered in advanced admin certification course, but I will try to give you as much introduction as possible so you can get a good understanding of it. And if you pursue to the next level where you want to go for advanced admin certification, you already have some good understanding and good baseline. So the next topic that we will be starting is called business process lightning flow. And what this flow is basically, it's a similar thing that we have been doing in terms of business process automation. So this is another more advanced tool available in the automation. So if you guys remember, we have worked on workflows, how we can able to automate, update a field, send an automated email, or we can also integrate with an external system and update the external system, things of that sort. So here also, in terms of business process, the two main topics that we will cover are process builder. This is one, the first tool, and then the other tool is called flow. So the first one, process builder, is basically, it's kind of similar to what we have done in workflow. So you can think of this as an advanced workflow version. In workflow, if you remember, if you want to do, if you want to work on same object, and if you want to do repetitive things based on different scenarios, you may have to create separate workflows. And again, once you go into the detail and start working on the Salesforce platform, you will very quickly notice that a lot of these things, what we take as granted, they are not unlimited, and there are certain numbers of different features that we can use. So one of the tricky part in Salesforce is, if you see something, do not assume as a default that you can just go ahead and use that. So that is something probably I haven't talked about it in the past. So the tricky thing is the way Salesforce have kind of make it like a license base is, they limit a lot of items based on the license type that you are using. So for example, if you start with the very basic license, you may not able to create custom objects. So it's not about you why you cannot create it, is because the license type does not even allow you to create custom objects. So they have one very basic type, which is starting with $25 per user per month for essentials. So again, there are a lot of limitations on essentials. Another example is, we haven't talked about integrations, but let's say you find a really good application in Salesforce App Exchange that you want to integrate, but because Essential does not have a license type that you can able to integrate, so you cannot. So either if you really want to use it, you actually need to upgrade your license to the next level, which is professional, and then you can able to integrate that. Similar things, there are a lot of other areas where you may be limited based on what license you are using. Same thing if you're a professional, then there is another one which is enterprise level. Then again, it will give you certain other privileges, certain other extra items that you can do. And then from there, if you go to unlimited version, that has more and more privileges. And how do you find out? You can always go to Salesforce website, go to their comparison sheets, and able to understand what they have. Also, in the help guide that we normally refer, and I can show it again, you can also review over there, because they sometimes changes those numbers as well. They're not consistent number. They keep changing it every year, or every new release if they have. So same thing with workflow rules. So based on the license type that you're using, there might be limited number of workflows that you can do, things of that sort. So if you want to create a lot of them, you might be hit with the limitations. Same thing with a lot of other things that we have gone through, how many number of custom objects that you can create, how many fields that you can create. So a lot of these things, when you are actually designing this system for a customer, you also need to really understand what type of license they already have, or if you are prescribing them a license that, okay, we will need this type of license in order to do that, you need to know all those limitations. And I have seen that in my actual work experience, that we have hit those limitations a lot. So usually either we find a roundabout way of implementing that, and that could be if you are hitting a limit with, let's say, workflow, we can do it via coding, right? So we can create like a triggers or something else which can do that, because we don't want to upgrade. Let's say if the client has using 100 licenses, and if all of those needs to go to the next level, that will be a very substantial change in the monthly cost for the client. So unless we agreed upon that yes, this is the right way to go, and they are financially viable solution for the customer, we can go that. But usually based on what they need to know, we pick up the license type based on what they can really afford and what is they're looking for in journal, and then that is usually discussed during the um, um, uh, initial discovery session to understand, okay, what type of solution they need at the end of the day. And then we can prescribe, okay, if you want this kind of solution, you at least need to have either professional or enterprise level or unlimited based on what company you're working with. And based on that we can start, but still we have this um, tagline attached to that, that although we are choosing one or the other, there could be still some items that might be limited. So we can keep you posted. If anytime it becomes substantial, we can let you know. So just keep in mind that when you are working in the real environment, I know a lot of times you cannot really think about it. You just go with the flow and say, okay, I can do this. Let's go ahead and create that. But it's always good to know when you're working in an environment, if you have that cheat sheet ready somewhere. Basically, if you're working on a client, usually that's what I do when we start on a new project, and whatever license type we select, we have that cheat sheet ready and kind of attached with our project documentation. So in case if anybody needs to go back and review what we can or cannot do, they have this quick reference ready to move forward. All right, with that, coming back to process builder. So as you know that workflow is there. And then as I said, if you want to do different processes, different automation within the same object, either you can start creating multiple workflows, or now they have provided another tool called process builder, which means that it will start building some nice processes for you. And it's kind of a very similar concept as a workflow. Even when we implement it together, you will see it looks, I mean, it is doing pretty much what we can do with workflow, but it is a little bit more nicer interface. It has some more capabilities. It's much easier to use, and it's very visual. And it's very understandable, and you can able to make changes very quickly. And even if somebody is not really a developer, or if somebody is not even a pro Salesforce consultant, even they can able to make quick changes and able to build something out of process builder. So they make it really, really easy. And recently they are still doing some more advancement. So that is the process builder. So let's talk about it a little bit, and we'll see in action how does it really used to create some workflow rules or workflow type tools. So limitations on workflow. So what are some limitations on workflow? To start with that, we cannot create record using workflow rules. So there's one limitation which of the very start on the very beginning, which can prohibit it is, if you remember, we can able to update the record, if we can able to integrate, we can send email, but you never saw out of those four options that you can actually create a new record. So that's right there. There's a limitation that based on some specific criteria, if you want to create a new record, you cannot do that, right? So if you want to do that, in case if you don't want to use process builder for whatever reason, at this moment you can also create a trigger, and trigger can also do the same thing and create a new record in conjunction with your workflow rules. So again, for writing triggers is something that usually admins are not capable of. So you need a developer in the team in order to do that. So there are limitations of what admin can do in terms of configuration. At some point, when it is start going into more of a customization and getting into more of a development, especially starting with triggers, that's where the boundary will start, that okay, your limitation will start as an admin, and then you will need a developer in the team in order to execute a lot of these things which are code dependent. So usually most of the projects that I've worked, unless they are for very, very, very small customer, they always need developers in order to accumulate a lot of things or a lot of requests that customer have. if you have a multi-step business rule, each step requires a separate workflow rule. As I just explained, if you want to do A, B, C, D, you need to start creating 1, 2, 3, 4. And then again, as I said, you may hit limitation, or even just to manage that is a, let's say you don't even hit the limitation, you can do that, no problem. But it's just a cumbersome process. And if you need to make changes or something is not running, troubleshooting is also a headache. So it's not an efficient process. So versus an example here is, for example, if you have one process with 10 steps, will require 10 workflow rules. So again, you need to do like 10 different workflow rules. And again, if you want to troubleshoot, if you want to update something, you need to go through a lot of those, versus you just have one process builder. So process builder is very, very strong. And especially if you are aiming for your interviews and you're aiming for your first job, a process builder is something that you need to have a really good handle on, so that you can display your expertise and you can talk about it. You can show some different scenarios, and you can talk all about how you can use it, how you created it in the past, how was it useful in terms of building something, or how many how many um, um, process builders can be used on an object, and all that good stuff. Because usually if you go for interviews and if you show the most advanced expertise, they will definitely get impressed, and then probably you have more chances to get either a follow-up interview or maybe an offer letter. So again, process builder is one of those items where you can show your expertise, talk a little bit about it. Once you're able to do that, then you can go to Salesforce documentation, which I'll show you, and then learn a little bit more areas where you can use it, try different scenarios, come up with different scenarios, use it. Just Google different scenarios, what people encounter, go to Salesforce community and see what people are stuck with, and maybe try to solve it on your own, understand what the real examples are. So as I said, like anything else, you need to make sure that you get a really good handle of some of these things. Even the workflow itself is very critical. Once before you jump into process builder, you need to have your hands really well oiled with the workflow, so that you can, once you get into the process builder, you really know what process builder is capable of, and why you need to use process builder versus workflow. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Couple of high level differences between process builder and workflow rules. Again, some of these are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to walk through all of them, but you can go ahead and review them. Basically, you can do it quickly. It just takes lesser time and all that good stuff. But once we show that you can able to do that, I also put a couple of other high level information that would be super helpful. Now let's jump into it and see how does it look like, and that can give you a really good view, and then we can come back in case if there is any question about it. So how to create a process builder? Again, we can, so here I can change it. Okay, so let's start building a process builder. So we can start with our application here, Unboxx properties. We go straight to setup. And then we can go to home and start looking for process builders. Okay. So this is the main screen of the process builder. Again, as I said, once you're looking at the very first time, I may skipping it, but make sure you can go through it. You can understand what it says. All that good stuff is pretty helpful. There's some documentation here. So this was I was talking about. There's some really good documentation available on each and every topic in Salesforce. So you don't need any notes from me, to be very honest. Even if I put something, I normally go here and take it from here. I don't need to write my own notes anymore, because Salesforce provides such a detailed documentation that you don't need to, with examples, with scenarios and all that good stuff. In terms of now, if I show you, probably it might be helpful to just review something quickly. So here it will define you what exactly does it do on a very high level. Many of the tasks you assign, emails you send, and other records updates are vital parts of your standard processes. Instead of going through the repetitive work manually, you can configure processes to do it automatically. Process builder helps you automate your business process and gives you a graphical representation as you build it. So as I said, you go through it. Even if you have interviews coming up, maybe you can have note this down in your own notes and basically kind of remember or have your own understanding around it, so you can give a really, really good understanding if you've been asked about any of these things. So here, the main differential here is a nice graphical representation is kind of a significant feature here. Now here, if you see that, and this is kind of repetitive, but now I'm kind of giving you an emphasis on it. So required addition. So that's where that addition comes into play. So here, first of all, it will usually mention that in case of Classic and Lightning, which we go through multiple times throughout our course, is it available on both, or sometime there are few things which are only available in Classic and not in Lightning, or there could be instances where it is only launched in Lightning but not Classic. So it's good to know, because you never know if you're working for a client, they might have already moved it. Most of them are already moving it or in a process, or they already moved, because they will be expiring Classic in coming months and years. So again, everybody is encouraged to move from Classic to Lightning, but it's good to know in case if you have a mixed batch, because I worked on a couple of clients where they have a mixed batch, which means that they have some pages which are still following Classic and some pages which is Lightning. That is also possible. So you can have a mix and match. And if you're working, you can even go like page by page on your website, or like feature by feature, and then ultimately at some point in time you have everything converted into Lightning. So it will give you what are like a UI UX versions, which is, you know, Classic and Lightning. And in terms of license type, as I just mentioned, they have multiple license type. So Essential is their lowest, most economical license type, but comes with a lot of limitations. You cannot even attach any app exchange, any app from the app exchange. You have a very limitation reporting. You have a lot of things are kind of limited, but you can able to use it for some really small organizations, like somebody who has 2 to 10 employees and then running like a basic business processes. They can still able to use it, and that's cost about $25 per user per month. Then the next jump is the professional. This jumps $50 on each license. So from 25, it goes $75. So again, that's a significant jump. And if you are working in an environment, and usually you are the one who will be recommending your clients that, okay, what license type you will be using, or you may have Salesforce salesperson available who will be recommending. So either way, they will basically review what you need, where you need to get, what all integrations do you need, and what kind of solution you're looking for. And based on that, they can recommend that, hey, you can do this, but you probably be hit with these limitations. So either you can go with, this is the recommended type, but if you go one layer lower, maybe you might able to do that via either coding or something, which is again is not highly recommendable, because what happens is if you have a lot of coding in your system, then it will become more like a custom solution rather than a configure solution, where you can go back in future and quickly make changes and doesn't require too much of a maintenance. Versus if it is a highly code-based solution, then anytime Salesforce provide a new functionality, you need to go back and rewrite your code in order to make it compatible. In some cases, it may be compatible, but in many cases, you might need to go and revisit a lot of your custom components and see if they're compatible. If not, so it's an extra effort that you need to put. Just from my experience, obviously, some of the bigger organizations that I work for, again, their processes are so complex that they have no choice but to do a lot of custom things. But again, if it is a manageable size of the organization where they can live with the configuration, that's the first preference. And even Salesforce really pushes for configure versus coding, because configuration is something, if you go with the configuration and Salesforce launches something, new feature, new functionality, usually it's automated, it's updated by itself. You don't need to worry about it. You can just install the new version like you install normally your updates on your phone, and it will update the previously available functionality. So, but if it is, as I said, if it is a code base, like you have done a lot of codes, you have wrote a lot of triggers or visual force pages and things of that stuff, then it will be maybe not compatible, and you need to put number of hours in order to review it first and see what is compatible, what is not, and then probably need to do it selectively. Then the next versions are enterprise, as I said. and then you have unlimited, and also there's a something called performance version, which I never used it, but yeah, I have used enterprise and unlimited mostly, or professional. I haven't used performance before. And then the developer is the one that you are using it. So if you find any feature where it says available and you do not see developer, it means that you cannot really test it out. So this is the one that you and me are using at the moment, which is called developer version. And here's some nice details about it. Some comparisons which you have seen in my notes as well. There are some examples. So this is not just one example. It's basically, if you go here, there could be multiple examples, like a separate page, a link here, and you can able to try multiple things. Opportunity management, different type of processes are there as an example. And here I said there are always limitations. So you can go to the limitations and look into that in more details. What are the process limitations? Process usage-based limitations, where should I use it, things of that sort. So a lot of good stuff is here. As I said, I mean, as long as you understand how to read this document on my left hand side, it will provide you end-to-end every functionality. You don't need to go anywhere. And even before you start watching any videos or browsing anywhere else, this should be your first starting point where you can quickly do the help within the Salesforce. So from here, I can just go here, or usually you have a help menu that also takes you there. So this should be your first starting point. Always read about it, see some examples. And if it is still not clear to you, you can always go back and look into some more videos, especially uploaded by Salesforce. There are a lot of people who do that, and some of them are really, really good. But it's just, you might need to spend a little bit more extra time in order to find the right video, which is actually answering or basically addressing the question that you may have. So anyways, coming back to our process builder, let's go ahead and create one. Here we can give a name to our process builder. Okay, so I just gave a name, process builder test and Unboxx properties. API name will become with the underscores, description if you want to give anything. And here you have three choices. So either you can have a record, which is changes, or this process can trigger when a platform event or message is received, or it's invoked by another process. So you can kick off like one process and it will kick another process that will kick another process. So it can be a chain reaction as well. So it can go as complex as you can think. Right now we can start with something super basic, our record changes, and let's go ahead and save it so it can give us the view. So here you can see that pretty much till now, whatever you have seen, they're more like a discrete where you can go from point to point, and then you can do that. But this is the first time you can see more like a graphical view where you can able to create your task, but it's more nicely done in a graphical, like a flow chart way. So let's start that. What we are trying to do here is let's add the object first. So let's say we want to start with our object Unboxx properties. So you can search your object, add the right object here. You want to start with Unboxx property, so I can do that. And you can say, so here it will ask you, do you want to run this when a record is created or when the record is created or edited, right? So in our case, let's say we want in both cases, not just when it is created for the first time, but also if somebody added in a future some advanced versions, which are probably not too useful for us. So we can go ahead and save this. So here we just selected our first object that we need to work with. And then what is the criteria? So again, the test case scenario will be, let's say if a property is less than 500,000, we can call it regular property. And if it is higher than 500,000, we can call it premier property, right? The one that we did with the workflow as well. But this time we will be doing it with the process builder. So here I can call the first condition as price greater than 500,000. And then what is the condition? Here I can select the field name. So here you can go for the asking price and you can add this field here. So asking price equals to, no, in our case, we want greater than. And what is the asking price greater than 500,000? All right. And then here you have a different choices. Either you can make If you have multiple conditions, like in our case, just a one condition, but if you have a multiple condition, you can also choose and or, which I'm sure everybody understands. So if you put and, it will say if you have multiple conditions, it needs to satisfy each and every condition. If it is or, it can be one or the other condition. If one of the condition is satisfying, you can do that. In our case, we have just a simple one condition, so we can go with that and save it. So basically, we just fill up this condition box where we are saying that going into Unboxx property, picking up a specific field called pricing, like asking price, and say if the price is greater than 500,000, then do what? Right now, we just say this is the condition, but then what? If it is true, then do what? And if it is false, then do what? So here we can define what is the action we need to take. So it's pretty straightforward. Define the action, click on add action. And then first thing first is basically what type of action do you want to define? So if you remember, sorry about that, it's just printer is running off in the background, so give me 1 second. Stop. All right, so here we have different action items. So we can initiate an Apex class. Again, you might need somebody in your team, a developer who can writing code. So if you are doing a Apex class, you can kick off and update an Apex class. If you want to create a record, so this is the one that we talked about, that it's not possible in workflow. So you cannot create a brand new record as an action item. So here, if it is this condition, you can able to create a brand new record based on that. But that was not, this option is not available in workflow to begin with. So this is again one of the good features that you can use it. Email alerts was there as well. Here you can also kick off another flow. So flow we will learn after, we will learn about flow after process builder. And then you can also do post to chatter, which is like Salesforce internal messenger. So you can post some record over there. You can kick off another processes. You can do some quick actions. Quick actions are like if you want to make a call, email, add an activity, add a task. So you can do some of those. Quip is another extension, which is more like a WordPress, but again, it's a documentation solution within Salesforce. It can track changes. It can do, but it comes as a separate license. So if you are using Quip, if you have that license, if you bought the license, or if your client has bought the license and they want to also integrate Quip. So Quip is also just for a background, Salesforce purchased Quip a couple of years back, and it's more like a document repository where you can create a lot of documentation. You can follow the changes. You can mention somebody, and they can able to update the documents like a one single document, something similar to Google Docs, where you can share between multiple people and all of them can update. But this goes a little bit more further. I mean, it has a similar functionalities like Google, but a little bit more advanced and integrated directly into Salesforce. So you can even share records and things of that sort. And if somebody's opening up, making changes, or you can mention somebody, hey, can you please fill out this portion of it? Or if something changes, like some significant amount changes, so that will automatically send an email to all of the document owners, and then people who are working. So a lot of nice features. So you can create something on Quip. Send custom notification. Again, you know how notification goes. We review one of the notifications during the approval process. So similar thing can happen. You can send a notification about some specific process, or you can even launch approval process. So remember, when we were working on our approval process, it was initiating, and it was not basically forcing somebody to go for approval. You are kind of picking up the approval process voluntarily. But if you want to force that, you can also use the process, and it will right away move to the next one where it say, okay, you can submit that particular record for approval without you making any action. So if you remember, when we were doing approval, we were going manually and say go for approval. You can keep that way, but if the requirement is such that if the certain condition is there, automatically it will go for approval for the next level or for the manager. So you can kick that process from here as well. Update records is something that we're going to do it. So in our case, we are updating the record, updating a field, so we can pick up update records. You can put the action item, whatever you want to name. And then here we need to pick up what record you are updating. So again, there are two options: select the Unboxx property record that started your process, select a record related. So I'm sure everybody now really understand this related idea. So in case if you want to update a field within the Unboxx properties, you can pick up the first option. But let's say Unboxx property is a master or connected with another, has a relationship, and they have also have a related object, then you can pick this one, and then you can pick the related object from here. So you can see that it is also showing the related objects from here. So offer is the related object. So you can even update the big condition was based on the master object, but on the child object you are basically doing the update. So but this condition, keep in mind, only valid if you have a relationship, master detail or lookup, then you can do that. But otherwise, if it is just a singular object, no relationship, then you can go with that. Or even if you want to update the record or a field within the same object, then you can still pick up the first field. So let's go ahead and pick up the field. Now we will have access to all of the fields. So here what I've done is basically I've created a field called process builder status. So I pick up that field, and here I just provided two simple values. One is updated ask is about 500K more, and the other one is less. So just for a simple one, I pick up that. And then basically I save this one. So hopefully everybody understand that what we are doing is, if the price of a property is more than $500, not $500, but $500,000, then update this field called process builder status and pick a value, ask 500 greater than 500, right? So that's all we are doing. And in the next section, we can go ahead and just do the reverse. So here we can pick up a condition saying that property type, asking price less than, and then whatever the currency we have decided, 500,000, and we can say just provide the name, and that's it. So this is the condition, same way. And here we just need to action items, same way we can define it. Again, this is just a simple example. Pick up update record item. This is our action item 2, so I'm giving it, but you can give a little bit more related name. Here again, we are selecting the same object. Here, same field, process builder status, and we are picking up the value which is greater than less than 500. Okay, that's all. You save it. So pretty straightforward. Again, the reason is right now we are kind of understanding how does it work, but when you're actually using in the field, as I said, it's not about how the functionality work. It's about the whole picture. What you really need to do, how complex is your system and organization. So that definitely you will learn as you work on Salesforce, as you work on a real-time projects. You can do a little bit more practice and you can try to make it a little bit more complicated. But the real scenarios, when they come up, it's not about can you make the process builder or not. It's basically about the whole thing. You need to understand what other processes are kicking on and what other related fields are there, what else is happening. So you need to be cognizant of everything else. And that's why, as I said, the first step after you got certified is to start working in the real environment, either in terms of finding a job, or it could be an entry-level position, or it could be a volunteer position, whatever that is. But the real understanding of working on a Salesforce will really be driven by when you start working in the real case scenario, when you are looking into the working org, where if you are making some changes, it may affect other sections as well. So you have to be very, very careful about it, and that's where you will really learn how to work in a Salesforce environment. And then now this is the area where, let's say I discuss about, if you're doing workflow, you have to create one workflow for here, another for here, but it's not ending here. You can keep adding more and more items. So now you can provide some other criteria, some other action within the same object. And usually it is prescribed that for each object, you should have only one a process builder. So if you see more than one process builder, or if somebody else has created it, you can always say that, can we go back and merge everything into one process builder? Because that is more preferred way of doing it. And this is a most optimal way. But this can be a very, very detailed one. You can start adding different conditions, not just related to that, but in different criterias you can able to start adding those different conditions. Once you create your conditions, once you have everything ready, now to kick it off, again, same thing like we have looked into before, you can activate that and go ahead and make sure it's activated. Once you activate that, it's not really easy to make changes. So make sure you are good with all of that, and you can able to see that this process builder is now active. Now we can go back and start testing some stuff and see if it is working. So if we come over here, process builder status, you can see that asking price is less than 500. And the reason is, if you remember, anything which is less than 300, it will show them less than 500 updated on a particular field. Now let's go ahead and make a change here. So instead of 300, I will go ahead and make it 800,000 and see what happens. So here you can see that right away this changes to ask greater than 500,000. Again, this is just an example to give you an idea. Based on that, you can maybe run some discounts. You can run, you can assign that to right away to approval process, right? You can give, you can assign this account to a particular person. You can do a lot of things. Again, it all depends upon what you really want to do. But the basic idea is, anything which a record is changing, or if you want to do some automation on this particular object based upon certain condition, you can use either workflow if it is simple enough. If it is a little bit more complex, then you can use the process builder. Again, I showed you, you can run a really long and more complicated process builder, but it's much easier to visualize it because it's a more visual picture, and then you can able to change that. Same thing actually we did using the workflow as well. So I use the same example so that you can understand the difference. I think we use the property class regular premium, but it's kind of the same thing, just update a field based on the pricing. But as I said, you can do a lot of different operations. You can initiate emails, you can initiate approval process, you can even kick off an Apex class, you can do and hit an external system. So it all depends what you really want to do. So you can, when you're working on that, you can try a few other options and see if you can get a whole hang of it. All right. Any questions for process builder?
Can I ask you, when there's an option for clone, when do we use that option?
Sure. So clone is basically, let's say if you want to build another process builder, but you don't want to put all of this together, then you can basically able to clone it. Where was that? Is it new? Where did you saw the clone?
It was when you were creating that process builder. There was an option at right.
Okay. So if I
Yes.
go on new one, or maybe go here, it might not let me make a
Yeah, right there.
clone. Yeah. So basically this, let's say if this is very similar to what you want to do, is basically clone this one, and then you can give a new name, and then you can go back and make some changes. Like cloning.
So it will be with the same, like with the Unboxx property, or we can use it for another application and
Right.
clone it for another application.
Yeah. So what it means is basically it will give you, for example, if I want to clone this, I give another name, right? And it will create this one. Now this time I can start making some changes, but I knew that a lot of these things are common. So let's say a lot of other things are common. So it's same as like if you create a Word document and you want to create another Word document, but half of the things are common. What you do normally, you save as, and then
Right.
you go back and make changes, because now you don't need to make all the changes, right? So the cloning is the same thing, because you already know that half of the things are common, and why should I start from scratch? So you can just make a copy. So cloning is make like a save as in Word or a Excel, where you can copy it, and then you can make changes whatever you want. So here you can come here and change the object or something if you want to, and then you can take it from there. So it's basically, it's just gonna give you some like a like a way that you can able to reuse something existing.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions? Okay, so in the document you can able to see how to create it one more time. Again, I think it's pretty straightforward. You don't really need to follow, but in case if you do, you can do that here. I may have some older um, properties. Yeah, I'll update that before sending it out, but basically it's just a similar way of doing it. The names were probably different when I used it last time versus this time, but everything else is same. All right. So I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty usable. As I said, it's very important for your interviews and very important for your, when you are actually implementing, because now, as I said, it's being very, very commonly used. So if you are working on an org where it is already built up, there is a good possibility that they might have used some process builders, and it's pretty straightforward to go ahead and start using it. All right, the next tool that we will be discussing today is called Flow, and it's again a very, very newer and advanced version, and it will allow a lot of things that you can do without going into coding. So again, what happened is, if you want to, like previously, if you want to create new screens, right? Let's say if you want to create a survey, and in the survey you want to display some screens and take an input, and all that input goes back into Salesforce. If you want to do something like that, you need to do a Visual Force page, which again requires some coding. So you need to have a developer who can create a Visual Force pages, and then you create a process, you can call them via triggers and stuff like that. So that requires a little bit more effort, and it's a more custom way of doing it. What Salesforce did now is they come up with something called Flow, and it will give you, again, not everything can be done from Flow, but it can at least take care of some of the very fundamental items, like showing some, creating new records, able to run some basic survey forms, and take a lot of inputs. So it's a pretty decent functionality replacing coding. So as I said, I mean, even if you don't have any plans to really become a developer, but want to still stick with the technical side of Salesforce. So there are a lot of tools. If you get a really, really good handle on those features, and if you go like more in advanced versions of those features and work explicitly on them, you can still be considered a very technical resource who can able to do a lot of these configurations. Because trust me, what happened is, if you talk to a developer, most of the time they are more comfortable with doing coding versus going to do in a configuration, because for configuration you need to know the latest available features and how they work and what are the limitations and things of that sort. So usually what I have found in my experience is, if you talk to a developer, a seasonal developer, their first preference is, let's code it, because that's what they do day in day out, and they're super comfortable with that, and they can just go in, write up even a 500 to 1,000 line code, no problem. They can do that because they are very trained for that. Obviously, if somebody is not a developer and if you ask them to code, obviously they want to go configuration side. So as I said, most of the orgs, their first preference is go for configuration, which is what you are learning. And in order to become a really technical savvy in configuration, if you know some of these features in and out, and you can think outside the box, and you can see how they can replace the coding, you can be regarded as a very, very tech savvy person in the team. Because usually, as I said, it will require a continuous learning, and it also require to make sure you are up to date with all the functionalities, because these things changes all the time. Whatever flow was there 6 months back, maybe there are some new features, or the functionality that was there before might be updated. So one thing is, you need to make sure that every time you're input something, again, not on a regular basis, but every release, if you're at least going and doing some implementations, give a quick review about that functionality to see if there's something new available. Because on a regular basis, if you are working in Salesforce environment, it is basically expected that you will go through all the release notes anyways. So it's not something that you are doing out of the way. It is already expected that when a new release come up, you will go back and renew your certification exam. There's a very easy 5-question certification maintenance exam that you need to give, and a part of the maintenance exam is something that you need to review all the new functionalities and any changes that comes up. So the release notes are pretty important. And then once you go back and start implementing something, if you can remember all those changes would be nice, or you can go back and review something if it is related to any particular feature that you are doing. So flow is something which is very, very useful. It can do a lot of things which previously you need definitely a developer to do that. It can replace a lot of work, visual force pages, but again, keep in mind, it's not necessary that you can do everything that you're looking for. So again, you may need a developer, but it's basically a call based on what is needed. And if there is a smart way of doing it using the flow or process builder, that would be your first preference. And if obviously that cannot be done using one of these functionalities, then the last resort is go back and basically do a coding and basically use a developer to build that functionality. All right, so flow, again, I'll show you practically how does it look like. But before that, I can show you what are we going to build using flow. So right now, let's say if you have a property agent who is in the field, and he's kind of researching new properties. So he got a list of different properties to go and visit and maybe talk to the owners or something like that. So he's in a field, he needs to create new records. So right now, the best way to do that, if you have to go to the particular object, you have to hit the new, and then you select whatever type, and then you can move on and then create the record, which takes a little bit longer. Now, if you want to make it like a quick process, so that they can create the record, and then when they come back, they can update the record with all the details. And they don't even need to go to the object. They don't need to go through this. They don't need to go through all the thing. What we can do is we can go to home page, and we can create a quick widget where we can just provide the bare minimum information, so that the agent can create the record, and the record is there, so the record is updated. And then if anybody else is basically in the back office want to either review it or want to know, okay, somebody's already here, or at least if other agents are in the field and they want to see, okay, what is the next property we can go and visit, everybody can able to know that, okay, this property is already visited, let's look into the next one. So how you can do that, what flow can do is it can create a brand new record just by providing some bare minimum information and without going into the whole process of creating a new record. So it will create a new record using the flow, and you can put that flow on the home page. And this home page is also on the agent's phone, so they can log in into the Salesforce. They can quickly click a button, add 1 or 2 values, hit OK, and then it will create a new record under their name. And whenever they get back to the office or home, they can basically update all the rest of the information. So that is what our task today, that using flow, we can able to create this quick widget we can able to create a new record for a property. So again, you can look for flow. I go to flow, and here are some of the default flows which are available. We can go ahead and excuse me, we can go ahead and create a new flow for us. So click new flow. And again, it's a very interesting one. So here are a couple of options which are available. Again, we may not able to go to all of them. If you are interested, once you go for the advanced version, then you can probably go in a little bit more detail of that. But today we can go through some of the baseline functionalities like a screen flow, which is very useful. Again, if you can able to understand Salesforce, get the certification, have some more ideas, then you can do a little bit more triggered flows and auto launch. Again, they're not too complicated, but I mean, they're really useful. You can have a record, a trigger flow, or platform event trigger flow as well. And again, some of that may have, if you once you able to view some of them, and if you have some basic knowledge of triggers and stuff, it will be much more practical to use that. But again, we'll start with the screen flow, meaning there's something which is available on the screen for the input. You can use that for surveys, for inputs, for creating new records, a lot of utilities out there. So I'll go ahead and choose the screen flow and go to the next. So this is something brand new. Like even 2 months back, I did not see that. And you can see that this is also like a beta version. So when they introduce a new feature, usually they introduce as a beta. Basically, people can test it out, they can improve it, and over the period of time, if everything looks good, they can go ahead and start using it. So we can stick with the free form, meaning that you can create something from scratch. Here you can have some basic flow, you can use it. So we can use either of them, it doesn't matter. But let me show you the free form first, because this is starting from scratch. So here, this is again something very similar to what you have seen in as a workflow, um, as a flow chart, where you can have different processes and you can use that. So here we can start a process, then we can have a screen. We can add a screen. Let me. Okay, so here you can start a process for the screen flow. So here you have, let me go ahead and give you some basic understanding what we have here on the left-hand side. So we have these three options. We have interactions, and what kind of interactions are we talking about? So in terms of interaction, we can either have a screen where we can show a particular screen. In our case, that is what we're looking for. And then we can show that into our, stick that into our home page. You can also have some sort of action, or you can have subflow, which is like you have a main flow and then you can kick off another subflow from that. In terms of logic, either you can assign something, you can have some decision, or you can do a loop out of it. And then in terms of data, as I said, you can create a brand new record that we will be using in our case, or you can update an existing record, or you can get the record. Basically, you can fetch some existing record, or you can also delete a record. So these are a couple of actions that you can able to do. And let me also show you how the other one looks like, so you can get an idea. So other one is also kind of similar thing. If you see that, it will also show you where are the resources. Okay, so here also there are multiple things which are available. But let's say if we go here, so if you want to add a different item, so if you remember previously you have different items on the left, here you have available in the plus item. So here the same thing what we said, but they just change the way it was coming up. So they just make it even more interactive. So now you can keep adding more stuff here, and then let's say if you add here, it will be added, and then you can add something else. So we can use either this or that. It's the same thing. So this one is a little bit more modern, so we can use this one. So same way you can pick it up from the left side and put it here, or you can pick up from here and then do that. So in our case, we want some sort of screen. So let's talk about this screen, but in the screen is exactly the same that you can see by this way or that way. It's the same, it's just they are coming up with this nice view, so you can add it right from there instead of picking up, dropping. I think this is the newer way, and we can see that more and more in coming days. So what is this new screen? So this screen is basically, as I said, we want to put it on the home page. We want to use it to create objects. So what we can do is let's say if we want to create a new object, we can just say you can put the name of the property owner and maybe the price. And just with these two things, create a new record. Okay, that's what we want. So the home page, we can call this widget as quick property generator or something like that, whatever you want to call it. So here, first thing I want to add a label. So what is the label you want? We can call it quick property generator. Okay. We put the API name, we put some details, show both header, footer. Okay, everything looks good, and that's it. So we create a quick property generator screen, but what we need is we also need to add something in there. Remember, so we have this available, but where are we taking the inputs? Okay, so in order to take the inputs, we have all of these fields which are available here, right? So what type of field do we need? And before that, I can give you an example that here, when you have something where you are taking an input, so the typical way in software development is you will have like a you can call it like an empty bucket, or you can assign like basically an empty bucket where you take a value and then you dump it to the actual value which is available in your database, and that bucket become empty again, right? So basically that bucket is replaced by a field. So we will create an arbitrary field for us. We take the value and then we dump it into the actual field for the record when it is created. Okay, so what it means is, let's say if I want a bucket for name, so the name is actually a text field, so I need a text bucket. So I pick up a text bucket, and this is kind of a temporary storage location, right? So I need a text bucket. What is the name for that? So I can call this um, property owner name. And then just so that we can view it nicely, I can also give a key number here, Sunday flow, so I can remember that this is my temporary field and it should not be mixing with the actual field. So this is just a temporary bucket field for taking the input of the username, and I choose text because this is a text field. Okay, that's good, but I need one more. As I said, I need a currency so that I can take input for the property price as well. So I pick up currency and I drop it out here. So you will see now currency field is here. So this one I can call it asking price, but just so that we can remember this is just a temporary one, I can put Sunday flow so that I can remember this is my temporary field. All right, so far everything looks good. We have created a field where we are taking some input. If you want to view it, always edit it, and you can see we have a label. If I click on the label, this is the label which will be appearing. This is the first field which is appearing. This is the second field, and in terms of field type, this is a text and this is a currency. So that's all we have done. Good. What is the next step? We need to create a new record. So click on that, and now this time I need to create a new record. Okay, pick up a new record. And here again, I'm going to call this new record, Unboxx, whatever you want to call it. And then API name will be the same. Now here, how many records do I want? You can able to create multiple records. Again, in our scenario is just a one record against one input. Now here, how to set the record field. So now here we are transferring the bucket from the name into the actual value. And you can see that. And then if you have any question, you can let me know. So here we can select the actual value. So first of all, we need to know what object is there. So in terms of object, we know that Unboxx property is the object. And then here are the fields that we need to bucket. So here, what is the field name that we need to put so this is the actual Salesforce field name, and this is the temporary bucket field name that we come up. Okay, so let's go ahead and first of all find the name of the field. Why don't see anything here? Okay, so actually I need to choose literal values and use separate resources, because here I need to actually put the values and dump into that. Okay, so here now if I go back and try to find my object, I can see that. So here I can see Unboxx property, so I can choose that. And then here I can try to see if I can get the value. So I'm still not getting the value. Something I'm doing wrong. Let me see. Um, Okay, I don't know what is this share, but let me try the regular Unboxx property and see if that helps. Okay, so so this was not the right object. I think this was some object that I may have created, but the right object was Unboxx property. So right here, so you can see that even if I do things, I can get confused. I need to go back and see what's going on. So this is a very normal troubleshooting practice. So here, what was the first field that we need to pick up a value and actually dump it? So this is the property owner name is the actual Salesforce field underscore underscore C. So we pick up this field, and then here, if you remember, we created some dummy fields. So the asking price and owner. So remember here, we are picking up the value from the owner, and we need to put it in the actual field, which is the Salesforce field name, which is property owner name underscore C. Another field that we need to introduce was asking price underscore underscore C, which is a Salesforce field. Here we define a dummy field called asking price sunflow. So we can take that, and then basically we are done. Any questions so far for this process? Basically what we are doing is we have created a dummy fields where we are picking up the value from the home page, and then when we click the process, then it will actually create put the values in the mapping to the actual Salesforce field, and will create a new record for us. Okay, any question before I move forward? All right, let's complete that, and here we can do done. So now I can go ahead and save it. Let me see. Okay. All right, and let me go ahead and save this. Let me hide this. Okay, and now I can label my flow. So I can call this okay. So here I have a flow name. I have defined some conditions, and then I can go ahead and activate that. So this is the activation. So again, if you activate that, then only you can able to view it. Now we need this on our home page. So let's quickly go back to our home page. This is our home page. So we want to add a new widget. So anytime if you want to make some changes to this page, you can go to your setup circle and then go to edit page. So if I click on edit page, I can able to see if I want to add more widgets, I want to add something here, and we'll use it for our dashboards also later today. But right now I'm looking for flow. So I search for flow, and then I find flow over here, and I can put it wherever I want on my home page. Let's start with the left hand side. Once I click on the home page, here you can choose what flow do you want. So cancel the one which is connected as a default, and let's see if the one that we created is available. So Sunday flow Unboxx property is the one that we have created. I can choose that. You can also edit if you want to, and then here you can have either one column or two column, which is fine. I can go ahead and save it and make sure it is also activated. Yes, that's fine. It is for the org default. You can also make it app default or app and profile default. So you can choose specific profiles who can see this. You can also make it app default. So right now we can just go with the default option of an organization default. So right there it is added. Let's see if it is working. So go back to your main page. And first of all, we need to see if this is available over there or not. So go to home page. Yes, so we at least see the widgets, or at least first part is good. We can able to see it. We call it Sunday Flow Unboxx properties. We provide two fields. Now see if it is working also. So what is the first property name? So I can call it Sunday. Sunday new owner, asking price. Okay, and let's see what happens. Okay, we didn't got any error message, which is good. Let's go to Unboxx property and see if we get a new one. So here you see that the record is already created. If I click on the record, the name that we provided is Sunday new owner, and the price we provided 500,000, and the property number obviously come by default. So everything else is empty, but at least we were able to create a brand new record without actually going into the field through our widget over here. And then whenever the person or agent will go back to office or home, he may have making notes, or even the record is created. Now he can go back, and if you want to add something, he can do that. But primarily, the main thing is we have created a quick widget which can able to do some tasks. And again, this is just one example where you can create a new record. You can also able to do a lot of the other functionalities that I've shown, where you can create even a survey. You can kick out another flow process. You can do a lot of innovative things from here. But this is like a nice example where you can able to see the actual flow, and it is also creating an actual record. Any questions? Right, let me check the chat. It's all good. Okay. Any question? Anybody which is not clear, confusing? Please go ahead, and this is a good time to ask because we are on the topic. Let me check the chat. Uh, Okay, so it looks like everybody's good. Again, once you start using it, you might encounter a few issues, but that's a part of the game. Let's go ahead, and you can go back and review how I did it, and you can at least follow that process and able to do that once, and then you can start looking into more and more complex scenarios. So very good. So we basically cover two new business processes functionalities, which is, again, as I said, a kind of a relatively new, and they are really good to showcase your capabilities if you can get like a really good handle on them. But make sure the other properties are already assumed that you know them pretty well, like how to do assignment, how you can create a process approvals, how you can do like workflow. So all of those are assume that you are really good at it. And then if you can go ahead and get your hands working on these two functionalities really well, this will be like a little bit more uh, uh, prominent features, because not everybody is very comfortable with, especially the new folks. I mean, the ones who are already working, and if they have done a lot of process builders and flows, they're good. But trust me, even I know a couple of folks who are like a Salesforce consultants, and they're doing Salesforce a couple of years. Even they are not too comfortable, because this is kind of new thing. And then a lot of people, they just stick with what they know and do not really enhance their capabilities, which definitely backfire on them. But for you as a new Salesforce consultant, you need to not only go for all the other existing functionalities, but put an extra emphasis on the newer ones, because that can give you a leverage over existing consultants. And if you can bring some more valuable insight to the features, show why do you want to use this, and why you prefer, why you are good at it, it can give you definitely a boost in your interviews, and even if you're joining as a consultant. The next topic that we will go through is reporting. Again, very important. Can't give enough emphasis, because again, relating it back to the real world situation. So think about if you are building a custom software. So when I say custom software, is, let's say you build a software in Java, C++, Python, or whatever language you are using, that you are basically building a new software. Now, one of the challenges with the pure custom development was when you need to create reports and dashboards, especially the reporting functionalities, you need a developer to develop that report template for you. And then only you can run those reports. So if you want to create some nice reports on your own, that was not even a possibility back with any of these custom developed portals. And think about all the managements and managers and senior staff or senior management. They need these reports all the time, and they might need to have a flexibility so that they can able to ask for different types of reports, or if how nice it would be if they want to create those reports on their own, if it is user friendly enough. So Salesforce, one of the reasons it's also very popular is because of the reporting functionality. The report, creating report and creating dashboard is very easy. a regular Salesforce user who is not even know how to work on Salesforce can also able to create reports and dashboards on a runtime, run it, even schedule them. It can be delivered to their mailbox, whatever time they schedule automatically. All the dashboards will be updating automatically. Anytime a new property or new deal is signed, it will automatically update your dashboards. You don't need to refresh. You don't need to do anything. So it's very, very intuitive. So anytime a CEO is on the phone and want to see what is the current sales that we have or what is our revenue number today at this moment, some of these dashboards can give them right away. I can give you another example from the real world scenario. So one of my really good friend, he's one of the presidents of a nonprofit, one of the biggest nonprofits. Their annual revenue is crossing 100 million plus. And he told me, like, I usually kind of are very curious and keep asking different people, how do you feel like Salesforce? Why do you feel it is good? And what are some of the features that you really like and it really benefit and improve your working situation? So one of the examples he gave me is like, hey, I have Salesforce on my phone. Most of the time, I don't have enough time during the day that I can log in into my laptop and go into the Salesforce. So I use my Salesforce like 90% of the time from my phone. It's login all the time. And for example, one of the example he gave me is if I get any donation above a certain number, which is like a significant donation, I can get a automatic alert and also an email in my mailbox. As soon as I see that, wherever I am, if I have time, I can quickly go in there, open up the record, see who is there, the number is there, right away call them, and then talk to them, appreciate their effort and partnership, or send them an email right away. So this will give me a chance to connect with our premier donors, and then same thing will happen on a different level. So a lot of other donors, they can get like an automated. But if you want to, for example, build up a scenario where you, for certain donors or certain clients, anything can happen, and if you want to take a quick action, Salesforce can help that. So with this type of reporting and dashboard, it will be a very distinguished feature of Salesforce that you can create. And even regular users who have no idea how Salesforce work, they can also able to create nice reports and dashboards, and we'll see how they can do that. So let's jump into the reporting part. Let me remove that from here so that I can show you how you can add it on your. So right now, let's say you are on your home page and you have your items over here. So either you can just go and search for reports. We start with the reports first. And then you can see the report object here. Click on that and it will add it over here. You can also go to your page, change the page, and here you can add some other. So here you can add a report. If you want to add dashboards, you can also add dashboards. Okay, and then you can save it. So now these reports and dashboard are available all the time. So you don't need to go and search for them. You can also search for them and then you can open them. But if you're using it on a regular basis, it's nice to have them pinned up over here. So you don't need to go anywhere. So let's start with the reports. Click on reports. And then basically, I will show you one other thing after that, or maybe I can show you that before. So basically, there's something called report type. So report, obviously, there are a lot of your standard object which are available right there. So if I want to create a new report, I can see all my standard object right here. But I don't see my custom object. So you can actually create a record type which is encompass your custom object as well. So how you can do that? Let's first learn how to do a record type, and then we'll come back and create a report. So here you can go and look for report types. Okay. So here there's a process. Again, I'm not going through this, but make sure when you walk into that, go through it, and do not click on, do not show me this again unless you have a good understanding. So once you go through that, here you can create a new um, um, report type. So I have created some, I can, okay, that's fine. I can create a new one. So let's create a new record type. So the new record type, first of all, you need to pick up the primary object. So here, the primary object I'm going for is Unboxx properties. And then again, I can put whatever record type label. So I can say Unboxx properties, and I just call it Sunday, so I can able to differentiate. There is one more available. So I can call it Unboxx properties Sunday, and then any description, whatever you want to add. And then here you have the category. So remember, all these categories are coming up on our left-hand side. So I can pick up any of those, but I usually pick up other reports, and that way I know all my custom objects are there. So I pick up the other reports, and here it's if you are still working on it, it's a by default in development, but you need to have deployed so that it's ready to use as soon as you are done with that. So make sure you change it to deployed. Go next. One more thing I want to do is I need to also connect my related object. So if you know that Unboxx property is a related object, Unboxx um, offer. So I also want to make sure Unboxx offer is also available. So when I'm creating report, not just the primary object, but related object fields are available. So I can run a report on both of them together or individual. So I can have both options. So here I'm adding Unboxx offer as well, and then go ahead and save it. So here you go. I have created this another record type label called Unboxx property Sunday. I kind of included my related object as well. So both of them are here. So here you can, it is also showing you how many fields you have in properties. You have 20 fields, and how many fields you have in offer. You have 9 fields. So all those 29 fields are now available for you to use and create your reports. All right. So once we are done with creating report type, and again, you need it more for like custom objects, but not necessarily for standard objects. So now I can go back to my reports, and let's go ahead and create a new report. So here, as I said, we have already created a new record type. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the record property Sunday. It will give me access to both of our custom objects. Go ahead and do that. Pretty straightforward. Now let's quickly walk through our interface here. So starting with the fields, this is by default tucked in. If you want to get it out, you can click on that and it will give you the list of all the fields. Let me go ahead and untap them. So basically the first one is the formulas, the second one is the first object and second object. Again, usually it will available on each object, but now in this case it's a related object. So that's why I can see both of them side by side, and I can choose fields from both of them for this particular report if I'm creating. All right, so that's the first one. Let's close this for now. Here, this area is called where you are choosing your field. So there's something called groups. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. But column is something, whatever fields you want to add, you can just keep adding in the columns and it will give you a nice report. So right now there are just 2 fields, property number and buyer's name, property number and buyer's name. We can go ahead and add a couple of more, and you can see that this is your display preview. Again, here you can see that previewing a limited number of records. So let's say you have 1,000 records and you're expecting 500 records in the report. It will not show you 500 records, but it will show you some like 5-10 records just to show you how does it look like. Once you run the report and you can save it, you can able to see all the records. So don't worry about it if it is showing you just a handful of records, because this is just a limited preview just to show you how does it look like. But the real values and total number of records will be available once you run the report. Update preview automatically. By default, it will be checked off. It means that if you are making some changes, do you want to see them? So I would prefer it to be updated automatically so I can see it quickly, whatever changes that I'm making. All right. And then once you are ready, you can run it just to see what the results are. And if you are comfortable, everything looks good, you can, or you can just, you can run it and then you can save it or save as if you want to create as some other name. Right now, I haven't saved any name. So this is the name. If I just click save, it will save under this name. If you want to create with some other name, you can also do save as, and you can change with a different name. You can save and run. So not only if you are making changes, you want to run and save, same thing. I guess everybody knows about it. So let's go ahead and start adding some fields over here. So one more thing is basically there are filters as well. So based on your report, what are the filters you are using? So you can add more filters here, or the filters which are here, you can make sure that you can make the changes here. So we will go through that, but just to give you an idea what all things are here, if you want to change the name of the report, you can do that. Let's say I want to change it to just Unboxx. That's fine. This is the name of the report. This is how you can run it, close it automatically, save and run, all these functionalities. Now let's go ahead and start adding some fields here. So let's start adding fields from Unboxx property only. So we have property number, buyer's name. Let's add asking price. It's just a pick and drop. That's it. You can just drag and drop here whatever you need. So I put asking price. I can put maximum offer, whatever you want. So let's do that. Let's add a couple of things here. Okay, whatever you want to add, you can add it. And if you want to add something from the related, you can do that. Right now, we just stick with the main one. So without adding anything in the group straw, just have this and see how does it look like if we run it. So here, all of these fields that we ran, it is showing you property number, buyer's name, price, offer, phone number, and it is just showing 3 records. Okay, so now let's go back and add and check a couple of other things. So here, first thing first, after you run this base, is need to make sure that you are comfortable with the filters. So here it is showing me my Unboxx property. Let's see what other options are there. So you can either see your properties only, or you can see your team properties, or you can see all properties. So for us, we can go ahead and check all properties. Here we can able to see created date. So either you can use the current fiscal quarter, or you can see all time. Let's do all time and then apply. And then also in the outline, you have buyer's name, which is actually coming from the offer. So we can remove that. And then we can also remove property number, and we can add property number from our object called Unboxx properties. So property number right here. Okay, and then let me run it again. So now you see there all the records are showing up. Again, they're not all of it, but we got the records that we're looking for. Go back, edit, and let's say this is the good report you want to go. Now what else can you do, right? What are the other features that you can able to do? So first of all, let's say if you want to do some basic things like ascending, descending, you can able to do here. So here you can do ascending or descending. You can do based upon whatever you want. So here, let's say you want to do ascending, descending based on the pricing. Here you can do that. Basically different types, you can do that, or you can even group them together. So let's say if you want to create a group via the bucket, you can even able to group it. So now it is divided into 2 phases. One is nothing, one is residential, and one is commercial. So you have 1 commercial property, 9 residential properties, and 4 properties which are not defined. Okay, so you can able to bucket them also. If you want to remove it, you can remove the bucket. So you can now start playing around with that and do a lot of nice things. If you want to put remove a column, you can remove a column. If you want to summarize it by sum or average or maximum min, let's say if you want to see the maximum numbers, now you can basically do with the maximum. So maximum is here. If you want to change it to something else, you can do that. So right now I'm seeing sum and maximum. I want to, let's say, add minimum. I can now have sum, max, min. So nicely done without doing anything. And then again, as I said, this is not just you are running for the first time. So right now we are creating, and then we can save this. And then every time, all you need to do is either you can schedule it. So it will automatically run at a particular day and time, and it will be available in your inbox. So you don't even need to come back over here and do anything or even run the report. So you can basically schedule your report whatever time of the day you want. It will be run automatically. It will be available in your inbox, and you can just click and open up and review the report, right? So this is very, very nice stuff. And then I'm just showing you how to create the report and how you can able to do a lot of these nice things. Now let's talk about this group. So I already showed you group, why you can do that. And there's another way you can do that. Let's say you want to do a grouping based upon property. Let me add property type as well here. And then let's do it based on the property type. So what is property type? Residential, commercial, and nothing, right? So let's do with the property type and put it on a group. So again, same thing what we have done. via simple column, we can do it here, but we can actually do further grouping. So let's say you want to also do further subgroup based on the subtype. So you can add that also into the group. So here, sorry, it's a phone number. So not the phone number, but subtype. Here's a subtype. Let's go ahead and add that here. Okay. So now you can see that property type and property subtype. So here, for example, in this case, residential has multiple subcategories. So it is already giving you in residential, 3 were houses, 6 were condos. And if you have more categories, if you have more like a more detailed data, you can see all of them here. Commercial, there was 1 record with the office. So you can see now how quickly you can able to view them, and then you can make changes, save the report, run it, and basically provide it and export it. So for example, if you want to run this report, you can run it. This is the report ready for you. If you want to export it, you can go here and you can say, I want to export the report. You want to detail report, XLS or CSV, whatever format you're looking for. You can say, I just want a detailed report, and then you can export it. And this is wherever you want to save, and your report is ready exported. And same thing, if you want, you can also export it. Here is the report is ready, everything exported. Basically the details are available. So you can do this via on-demand basis, or you can even schedule that as well. So if you want, you can, first of all, you can save it, and then you can schedule as well. So coming back here, um, to your reports. So which one was that? I think this one was it. Um, okay, this one was the other one. Did we save that report or not? I think we did not save that report. Okay. Anyway, so this is similar type of report. I can show you how you can add it and add some more stuff into that. So let's say, first of all, I'll just go ahead and, okay. So let's say this is the report. It's kind of very similar, same object and everything. We have grouping based upon the asking price, right? So you do a grouping, and then let's say you want to create a chart. So you can see how easy is that. You can just click a button here, and it can add a chart. And if you want to change the type of the chart, you can also do that. So if you want a donor chart, it will create it, but keep in mind that the charts and everything will be created once you have the grouping, because without grouping you cannot do that, right? So, and here you can choose what you are showing. So here you are showing asking price, and here you are showing record type. So you can either have the maximum record type or record count. So we are picking up the record count. So again, as I said, you can choose the type of the um, chart that you are looking for. So let's say this is what you're looking for. That's it. You can basically make some changes here, some color combinations, whatever you want. And then this is the report that you have created. You can save it. And this report, when it will run, it will have your charts available, bifurcation available. You can have another report without any charts and just export the raw data, whatever you want. Basically, it's very straightforward. You can create any report out of Salesforce with making all these changes. So just to reiterate again, all your fields are available over here. You can add whatever you want. Then you have the second column where you can add all the columns, whatever you need over here, all the columns. And then if you want to make some groupings or like a summary section, you can add whatever field that you want to use as a summary. Right here, I'm using as an asking price as a summary. So based upon the different tiers that I have, I know how many records that I have. So for example, this one, asking price 200,000, I have 2 records. And then for example, for a million plus, I have um, one record. So you can do grouping based on that. You can add a chart in the report, and then you can run it and export it and make sure you saved it so that it will be saved for you. Okay, so it's 10:33. So basically, so this is how you can run a report. And then one more thing is filters. Make sure you know how you can able to change the filters. If you want to see just your properties, or you want to see all time, you can able to do that. And in here, you can also add some cross additional filters if you want to. So these are the main categories. As I said, it's pretty straightforward. When we usually deploy the implementation to our customers, this is something where we walk them through, and usually they are not Salesforce consultant. They have no idea how to work on Salesforce, but even then they can able to use all these reports because they're pretty user friendly, pretty straightforward. You can choose whatever you want, and so they don't need to come back to developers or Salesforce consultant to actually create the reports or dashboard. I'll show you dashboard the next item. But any questions from reports before we take a quick break? All right. So it's 10:34, 35 ish. So let's take a quick 10 minutes break. So we'll back at 10:45, and then we'll start looking into dashboards. All right, guys. So we are taking 10 minutes break. We'll back at 10:45 to continue with our session. Thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next item. So we just talk about reports, and then if you want to create a report, if you want to create a dashboard, you need to have a report ready. And within the report, you need to have at least one grouping or a one summary done. Then you can use that report in order to create a dashboard. So let's go ahead and learn how you can create a dashboard. Again, pretty straightforward. You want to create a new dashboard, click on new dashboard, whatever name you want to give, and then you can choose a folder and create a new one. Also, one more thing, keep in mind that the report that you have created, that needs to be a public report. If it is a private report, if it is saved in your private folder, then it won't be able to share, it cannot able to create a dashboard. So the report needs to be a public report if you want to create a dashboard. So make sure that is there. So now we want to create a new dashboard. We call it this one. And here we need to add a component. So let's go ahead and click on a component. Here you can choose the report that we have created. So I can either both of these reports look same, so we can create one of the report. Again, you can choose what type of the view that you want. So let's say if you want to create either donut chart or a regular chart, whatever is your preference, you can choose that and add that over here. So here you can, if you want to edit that report or if you want to view the report, you can also view it from here. So what I can normally do, I can increase or decrease the size. How does it look like? So usually if you can spread it around, it will be nicely visible on the home page as well. So I can go ahead and change that and then save this dashboard. Now this is simple. Simple, as I said, you can create a new dashboard, choose a report that you want to work with that, choose the display type of the dashboard, either it's a donut or it's a regular type of chart, and then you can save it, and then you are basically done with that. So we have created a new dashboard. If you want to include that dashboard into our home page, again, it's a simple process. We added the flow here, so very similar way. We can go here and edit the page. Why I don't see the page? Okay, so just go to the circle and go to the edit page option. Excuse me. And you can look for the dashboard. Here's our dashboard, and then you can throw it wherever you want. So I want it in the main area. And here you see the dashboard start coming up over here. Very nice, very good. If you want to change the location, you can. Just keep in mind that this is the big area. This is like a big view. If you try to add this dashboard into some of the smaller sections, it will not show you the full view. So make sure if you want to view the full, you can able to add in a more broader section. And also you can able to change the view as well. You can edit the page. You can make it as many different sections as you want. So all of that is pretty straightforward. But let's say we are good with that. This is the view we are looking for. We can go ahead and save the dashboard. Now, if I go back to my home page, this dashboard is available. And again, as I said, this is like a kind of a live dashboard. So if anything is changing, you're adding more records or whatever, it will be changing automatically. If you want to view some details, you said, okay, this 4 properties, I want to get some more details about it. You can even click on that and it will take you to the report, and then you can view them over here. If you want to go from the report, you can also go from here into a new tab, able to view the report for more details about the record. So everything is pretty synced up, very easy to use. And you can add multiple dashboards as well. If you want to view it full screen, you can do that. If you want to see half screen, you can do that. So a lot of nice features are there. You can add as many dashboards as you need, align them properly. And some of these things, again, you can edit them, and you can make it viewable as you want. So pretty nice feature, especially this dashboard thing is very, very useful for the managers, for a higher management. And here you can, as you see that whatever, so let's say if it is defining the sales, so probably the first most important thing for either a manager or a salesperson or a higher management is just to keep an eye on daily sales, weekly sales. If you are, let's say, in a property business, you want to know how many properties are sold today or how much revenue then you generate. So you can have different type of dashboards created based on different reports, and then you can display them on the home page. And then this home page can be reflected into all of your team members, or maybe just for managers, you can control them um, via profiles and stuff like that. So this is how you can create the reports and dashboards. Any question for dashboards or report type, or creating dashboard or reports in journal? Okay, let me see if any chat. Okay, all right. Okay, very good. All right, so if that is clear, let's move to our next topic. We have an hour left, hour and 10 minutes. So let's see what else we can cover. So reporting is done. And then there are some next steps. So before going next steps, I kind of save some time for reviewing some other applications available here. And sometimes you can get some questions from there as well. So let's start with the Sales Cloud. So just to give you a little idea, I'm not sure if I have given that before, but in any case, I'm kind of reiterating that. So Sales Cloud, again, before going into the Sales Cloud, just to show you, if I go and view all, so see all of these are different apps which are available. So first thing is, let's say when we say sales, so this is actually Sales Cloud. When we say service, so this is actually a Service Cloud. Right now you're using a developer version, a free version, so you have access to all of these, but they are not intended to be used for commercial purposes. So when you are actually ready and working with the client, so you need to, either client has already purchased different licenses or you need to recommend them. So based upon what you are building, at this moment, I believe there are more than 25 types of sales clouds which are available. So not all of them are even listed here. So there are about 25 main sales clouds which are available, Salesforce clouds which are available. So some of them are very basic or most used one are available here. So you can see service, you can see sales, you can see marketing, you can see community, um, and CMS, and that's pretty much it. But if you really want to see what are all different type of clouds which are available in Salesforce, um, uh, you can go to the products. So customer 360, sales cloud, service cloud, marketing cloud, these three we can see them. But for example, customer 360, commerce cloud, analytics cloud, this is used for integration. This is a MuleSoft. Then we have work.com is a separate cloud. Learning is their trailhead. Then you have you have different by different categories as well. So if I go to the financial, it's not going there, but let's go to, uh, for example, where we were. I don't know why is it maybe down or something today. Usually Sundays are where they are working on some of these things, but let's say if I go to see all the, okay, so a lot of these things are not working. I don't know what's going on, but it looks like it's down for some reason. Um, but usually you can come back to this site and you can able to view a lot of these products which are available. Let me see if I go from somewhere else. No. Not sure if it is a browser or maybe their site is down.
I was able to go in when I
I
clicked
don't
on
know.
the
Let me
products.
try
Yeah.
another browser just to see. Okay, so yeah, it could be something with the browser. So so here, if I go to all of their products, you can able to see they have so many products. As I said, I believe there are more than 25 clouds available, and you can able to see some of them over here: sales, service, marketing, commerce cloud, analytics cloud, integration platform, learning cloud, employee cloud, artificial intelligence, and then you have um, um, 360 cloud. So there are so many clouds which are available that you can use in Salesforce. So here, if we go back to our view, so we can only see limited number of clouds so that you can practice. So some of them require, you need to sign up for a trial, or maybe the trial is not available. You can just call Salesforce and say, we want to test it out, and then they can provide you the trial version. Some of them can directly sign up on the website and able to do a 1 week or 1 month trial, whatever is available. But let's say, if you, so the ones that usually been asked in a Salesforce admin certification is primarily with the Sales Cloud. I can go through a little bit of Service Cloud and Marketing Cloud as well on a very high level, because these have their own certifications as well. So admin is usually, as I said, it's like a baseline certification, give you an idea about it. Now you can go for the other certification. So Sales Cloud is one of the most used cloud. So I would recommend, if you are looking for what is the next certification. So if you're looking into more development route, then you can do like a platform one or some other development certifications. If you're targeting more as a consultant route, then you can start looking into Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, NPSP, which is used for nonprofits. Now, between NPSP and Sales Cloud, I would say, if you are more like a new to IT and basically want to go for some volunteer positions in the beginning for a couple of months just to have your experience there, I would say NPSP is a nice certification after your admin certification, because in that way you can have more probability to get a volunteer or entry level position in one of the nonprofits, where you can get more opportunity to work. And then once you have your experience from there for a couple of months, then you can go for Sales or Service Cloud, get a little bit more hands on, and then you can start applying for your regular Salesforce consulting positions. Now, just to keep in mind, Salesforce certification does not guarantee that you can get a job. What it really guarantee is to show that you can able to do and work on Salesforce itself. You have understanding of Salesforce. You can able to make changes. You can upgrade the system. You can build the system. You can modify the system. And for that, and for that, the certification is the first step. So certification at least tells that, okay, this person has knowledge about this cloud. But how good you are, that will, they will go for the interview and they will try to drill you based on your understanding of the cloud and what you have used. So it's always necessary. You can be lucky that you can get a job where they will let you learn on the job, but most of the jobs, if it is a paid proper job, they need experienced people. So the first challenge that everybody face, if they're especially new to IT, if you are already working in IT in uh, some other area, that's a different story, because you may not face the same challenges as somebody who is coming from a different domain. For example, if you're coming from sales, or if you're coming from like a healthcare or anything else which has nothing to do with IT. So you probably need to get yourself accustomed, and the best way to do that is, if you already have a job, then you can go for a part-time volunteer position. So you can sign up for 15-20 hours for a non-profit. And again, getting that position is also, to be very honest, not that easy. So it's not like they are waiting for you, oh, we are doing volunteers so they can pick you up very quickly. Even to get a volunteer position, you need to go through the same process as you go for a job. You need to have a good looking resume. You need to know you need to have some certifications. You need to have some sort of knowledge. But obviously you are going for a volunteer or entry level position, so the interview won't be as difficult as it would be for a proper position. So usually I highly recommend everybody who is new to Salesforce or new to IT is initially target for entry level positions or target for volunteer positions even. And in the meantime, you can get certification. So if you get an admin certification and if you feel like you have achieved a lot, to be very honest, it's just a starting. Most of the folks who actually planning to become Salesforce consultant, I would say 3 certification is the minimum to start off. You can even get a job before that based on what experience that you can gather. But ultimately, I would say if you are in the Salesforce environment for next 6 to 8 months or next 6 to 12 months, I would expect you anywhere to gather more, like maybe 2 to 5 more certifications. So at the end of the first year, most of the folks who are very successful in there, they can at least have 5 certifications as an average number. So it basically require you a consistent learning of this platform, consistently doing trailheads. So if you haven't started your trailhead journey, please go ahead and do that. That is very, very necessary. And once you start doing a lot of trails, ultimately your first target is to become a ranger, which is once you achieve 50,000 points or 100 badges, then you become a ranger. So that is a good indication that you're spending some quality time on trailhead learning from the Salesforce itself. And that's a very highly regarded. You can even put that information on your LinkedIn, on your resume, because this is regarded as a side credential. Obviously not as critical as your certification, but it is definitely looked at upon if you are a 1x ranger or 2x ranger, meaning that you are spending some really good time in learning the platform and spending enough time. So that's very, very much needed. Now let's quickly walk into Sales Cloud, and then I can wrap it up towards the half 30 minutes of other items. What are the next steps, and how you can become a really successful Salesforce consultant. We'll spend like half 30 minutes from 11:30 to 12 towards that. So Sales Cloud, let's talk a little bit about Sales Cloud, because there may be some questions from Sales Cloud even in the admin search. So Sales Cloud, the main difference is all the baseline stuff that we learned is pretty much consistent across the board. So no matter what cloud you are learning, the workflow rules are same, the business, the process builder is the same, the flow is the same, creating a custom and standard object is the same. All of those things that we have learned in the admin still now, they all pretty much same and consistent across the board. Then you will ask, what is the difference? So the difference between some of these clouds is based on the different business processes. For example, sales is a business process. Service is a different process. E-commerce is a different process. Education is a different process. Education K-12 is a little bit different than education for universities process. Then you have a lot of these different, like healthcare has a different process. So usually what used to happen is you pick up a sales cloud, you pick up a service cloud, and then you customize a health cloud for yourself. So let's say you work for a pharmaceutical company or a hospital, and then you need to develop their business process. So you will be spending a lot of time in Salesforce customizing it, building all those new custom objects, custom fields, connecting it, creating different, using through different either custom code or workflow or business process, creating a process. So that takes a lot of time. So what Salesforce did is they realized that each vertical, and when I say vertical, I mean different industries, like if one of the verticals is financial vertical or a healthcare vertical or a telecom vertical or an e-commerce vertical. So Salesforce realized that each vertical has different type of business processes. and inherently each of them has some commonality. So for example, if we talk about all healthcare, then healthcare has a process which is very different from the financial services. And then the financial services processes are very different than e-commerce, and then e-commerce processes are very different than a telecom processes. So what they did is basically they created some of these clouds. um, so you will see a health cloud, you will see a financial cloud, you also see a sales cloud and service cloud. So let's talk about these basic clouds. So between the sales and service, the sales business process work as, if you are working in a sales team, your process is a bit different than the service. And what is the difference? So in sales cloud, what you do as a salesperson, you need to have your leads. So first of all, either you are calling or collecting the leads from a third party, or you have leads coming in from LinkedIn, or you have leads coming in from your website. People are signing up saying we are interested, or however you are getting your leads, you need to get all your leads available in your CRM. So that's your first step, where you get all the leads. And lead is a person who is interested in your services. They might not be ready to buy it. They might be just browsing around, and your company could be one of those. But he has some intent to buy the product, or is at least interested in the product that you're selling. So lead is not necessarily a client yet, but he's somebody who's interested. So if we go to a lead, in the lead, what they did is basically they created a process. They said, okay, for a lead, we need some of these fields, and you can always customize based on what you need. So for example, very generically, you need a name of the lead, you need their contact information, you need the company that they're working for, you need their title, you need their email address, maybe website, maybe how does the lead come into for you. So for example, you want to know, is it the lead comes from the website? Does they call you to get the inquiry? Is it your partner had referral, or you have purchased a lead list and it is coming from there, or some other way that you are working with them? What is their annual revenue, what is their address, what is their intent, in what product, if you sell multiple product, is there a particular product that they're interested in? So a lot of information. Again, you can very much customize this, and based upon that, we also have something called the flow, right? So for example, if you start, it's like a brand new lead, but let's say now you give them a call or you send them an email. So you will update the status to working. You said, okay, now I'm working and this is my status. So you can able to view all of the leads who are currently in the working status from the reports, or even from your lead status. And then let's say if this lead is actually buy a product for you, when you say converted, meaning that lead is really interested in a product, you call them, they said, yeah, we are interested, let's talk about it. You said, okay, what product you are interested in? And they said, okay, XYZ product, so let's set up a call next week. So it sounds like this lead is very, very interested. So now we will convert that lead. So converting a lead doesn't mean that they already bought something, but it sounds like they are very interested and they are going to the next level. Where the next level is, you can convert that lead into an opportunity, contact, and account. So what it means that we have all that information available here in a single lead. So we will remove that from a lead, and now we will be treating them as an opportunity because now they have shown an interest. So let's say if somebody walks into a showroom, let's say 100 people walks into the showroom. So from the lead perspective, you have 100 leads available right for that particular day. So you will add all those leads into a lead column. Now, let's say you are one of the salesperson and you're talking to like, for the whole day, you talk 10 people out of those 100 people. And out of those 10 people, they ask all the generic questions, but 5 of them actually showed their serious interest. They said, we are interested for a drive. We want to see the colors. Can you show us some numbers? And things of that sort. So you basically get an idea. Okay, these 5 leads are very active, and let's work on them more. So we will convert them into opportunity, and then opportunity mean that this lead, for example, here, this person, Miss Bertha Boxer, is basically, let's say if they're interested in buying one of the products, so we can convert that and then we can say converted status. So now we can create a new account, or we can choose an existing account. So let's say if it is the first time, you never worked with this farmer corp of Florida before, so you can create a new account. If this account is already available, then you can choose from your existing list, whatever that is. So existing list will start coming up. So let's say this is a new account, you can have new account. Then again, this is a new contact. If it is not there, if it is an existing contact, you can choose from your contact list. Let's say this is a new contact. And then the opportunity. So here you can say this opportunity name is, for example, Farmer Cops of America interested in buying product one, whatever that is, and you create this opportunity. Go ahead and convert that. Here you can say who is the record owner and all that. So what will happen as a result? The lead which was there, it will be removed from the lead column. It will be no longer available in the leads, but now you will create a new account under the name of Farms Corp or Florida. You will have created, Salesforce created automatically a contact name, her name, and then it also create an opportunity Farmers Corp of Florida. So let's go ahead and go to the leads and start working. So see that lead is now disappeared. If I now go to my opportunities, that opportunity is now available for me to work, right? And if I go to that opportunity, if I can go to the details, it will tell me all the details which was converted. It has the related contact. So in the activity, if you start making some calls and events and emails, everything will be logged here. If you go to the details here, if you see the related product are here, related role is here, this person was there, and then a lot of other information is there. Same thing if you go back to the account, and if you go to that particular account, that is also showing the same information in the related. For example, it is showing that for that account, this is, I have one contact. You can have more than one contact. If you have multiple contacts, they all start showing up. It is also showing that you have one opportunity. So wherever you are going, either you go to a contact, and if you go to the contact related list, it will start showing you the opportunity. It will start showing you the account information. So all of them are kind of connected. So this is basically a sales process where you have a lead available, you convert the lead is converted into an account, whatever account they're working for. The name of the contact information and other personal information is stored in a context, and then it will also create an opportunity for you where you can follow the opportunity. So now opportunity has its own cycle, and again, you can all change whatever you need. This is just more like a cookie cutter step. So they said, okay, once you're prospecting, now somebody shows an interest. They said, okay, I need a test drive. You convert them into an opportunity. Now let's say that is go beyond prospecting. Now basically your qualification, meaning that they're saying that, hey, I want to see this, I want to see that. And let's say you are basically analyzing it. You're giving some value proposition saying that, hey, this car has this value, this car has this value, what is your budget, and all that good stuff. So based on the budget, you show them the right car for them. And now basically you're not working with the decision maker. So let's say if this is the stage, then you can mark this is a current stage. And then when you're calling them back, because let's say they stop here and they say, we will come back with that tomorrow or next week. So let's say now you need to follow up as a salesperson. You open up all the records which are standing on, let's say, decision makers, and then you call them and say, hey, you were here last week. I just want to check with you if you need more information. We have some new deals coming up. You want to come back in, or can I provide some more information? And then you take it from there. Let's say this particular opportunity move further. Now they said, you know what, yeah, this is a good deal, we like it, can you send us some pricing? So you put together, again, you can embed the different documents here called, let's say there's a document called DocuSign, which is an online document where you can send that document to somebody, and without printing them out, without doing any hard copies, they can sign up electronically. So you can actually create that document here with the help of template, which will have bear the name of the client, the product that they have chosen, everything will be picked up over there. And then you can send them via their email, everything will be happening in Salesforce. They will receive it in their email, they review it. For example, they see the price and everything, and they said, yeah, this is good, let me sign off and let's move to the next step. And then you can, even if they want to do some negotiation, everything looks good, you can go ahead and close the deal. And you close the deal, everything from Salesforce. So within the Salesforce, everything will be worked and updated. And then you can choose if this is, at the end of the day, if this deal is actually picked up or this is actually dropped off and they said, no, we'll go with another one. So either you win the deal or you close the deal. Again, you can change the stages, you can modify that. I'm just going through the standard one. So let's say you win the deal and he says, go ahead and save it. So this, you can see that even if you skip some processes, it will go back and just check off all the processes and say this deal is close one. So you can go back to your opportunities if you want to see all your my opportunities. So again, these ones, as I showed you before, you can create your own base. But let's say if you want to see all the opportunities, you can see that. You can see all the ones which are basically close one or which are need analysis. So for example, close ones are here. You can filter them out as well, create a different one for yourself by using the filtrations, all opportunities, or you can add some more filters here just for the one close one properties. So here, let's say you can say, I want um, stage equals to close one, and then just done it. And very quickly you can save it and it can start showing you all the ones which are closed ones. So either you can do that and save this filter for the next time, so you don't need to go back and do that. But just to show you, all of these things are very, very interactive, very, very useful. You can do it on a fly. You can save these settings and then you can use them again and again on your recent data. So you don't need to do that every time. You can just do it one time, save it, and then you can save it as a different type of opportunity drop down list. So some of them are here already for you to view, but as I showed you last time, you can even create your own views and then you can save it, you can filter it, you can add the fields that you need to look for, you can rearrange the size of the field that you want. Same thing for dashboards, reports, we just go through it today. Campaigns is something you want to run a campaign, you want to send emails, you can create the name of the campaign, you can send it out, you can have the date and time for the campaign, you can add the campaign members, you can add the links, you can add the different leads that you want to send the campaigns, like email campaign if you want to run, and then you can go in detail. So these are the things that you can now, with the knowledge of Salesforce admin, you can go ahead and start exploring them and review some of these functionalities in, for example, Sales Cloud. Similarly, the business process for Service Cloud is a little bit different. In Service Cloud, basically, let's say you already complete your sales cycle, right? The next thing that you need to do is somebody, let's say, bought a car from your dealership and they close the deal, everything is managed in the Sales Cloud. Now what will happen is, as part of your deal, you also give them a service contract for next 3 years. And in their service contract, they're eligible for their oil change for 1 year. They're eligible for car wash like once in a month, or they're eligible for their services every 3 months, or whatever that is. So all of them comes under your service contract. So you can have those accounts here available, and then you can add those contacts in here, and then they have cases, meaning that now if they're coming in and doing a service, you can open a new case. Or if they send you a request saying that, hey, we bought a car last month, but this specific button is not working, so they can open a new case. And here you can say, what is the status of this case? It is working, work in progress for the case. Who is the contact? You can choose for example, this person buy a product for us, so she's the one. And then how is it a severe priority, whatever that is. I'm going in the details, but basically you can go through all of that. You can pick up the account, you can pick up the types, and then basically, and again, all of these you don't need to use as is. Again, based on the business, you can change the names, you can change the fields, you can define your new fields, custom fields, whatever you want, web email address, all that information. And then you can have, what is this issue regarding? So issue what is that issue. You can add everything, and then you can have send notification email to contact. So when you are creating this case, let's say they call you, you're creating this case for them, you can even able to send them an email which will give all that information and and a case number. So next time when they call, you can say, hey, can you tell me the case number so I can pull up your case, which I'm sure every one of you have experienced that in some case where you are opening some issues, and they can review it, and they can tell you. You can either, some of them have online portals where you can put the case number and can tell you the status of the case. So this is basically, cases are mostly covered under service pattern, and then you can have more details. You can add more custom objects here, obviously. But basically, when you are dealing with the after sales process, which is service, that cloud is also available. And if you want, the customer want, they can buy both sales and service cloud, and you can configure them in a more sequential way. And then once the client is done, they can move to the service. Then you can have different service contracts in here. You can add a lot of different other objects over here. So you can view all those different objects from the list here. But again, some of them, if they're not available, then you can create your custom object as well, as you already know, right? So for example, service territories, service resources, service appointments, a lot of those are already available. Price book will tell you the price of each offering that you have. So let's say you have different opportunities, different prices, different gadgets, different, whatever, you can have all your prices up there. You can have different products. You have different payment methodologies. You can authorizations, gateways. So many things are available, and these are, as you know, that these are some of the standard standard objects available. But at the end of the day, let's say they do not suffice what you're looking for, then you can always go ahead and create your custom objects, and then you can take that information in there. But again, as I said, Salesforce is kind of providing you like a overall platform, but each organization has their own business process. So that's where you need these consultants, and these jobs are for the consultants. Okay, so basically the reason why we have our job is because Salesforce is not a cookie cutter solution. What it means that is not something that you can just pick up, buy a license, install it, and start using it. In some cases, you can, like the very basic versions of Salesforce, which you can use it. Even then, you might not clear about how does these things work, and you need to maybe do a little bit of your own um, uh, exploration to understand different features. But obviously, for anything from the basic upwards, you need a Salesforce consultant in order to not just customize it for you, but also to maintain. And if you have any issues, you need somebody who has working as a Salesforce consultant, and that's where the jobs are. So the reason why we need so many consultants is anytime you are going for a new implementation or a maintenance or an upgrade, you need expertise. And again, as you can see, if just today, without even adding the Slack and some other platforms, we already have 25 clouds. So it's not possible that you have like one person, let's say myself, and I'll say, I'm expert on Salesforce, all the cloud. It's not even possible. So there will be a lot of people who are working in different type of clouds. They have different expertise. So maybe I can become an expert on marketing cloud, and then I'll basically start applying for marketing cloud positions, and I'll be working with clients who are working in marketing cloud. So imagine there are still like 24 other clouds that other people can work, and based on their initial experience or the cloud that they're working, maybe their background, maybe their degree, maybe the area that they really feel comfortable. So for example, if somebody is working in analytics a lot, right, and they have some background in analytics, maybe a degree in analytics, for them, definite next step is to go for analytics cloud, learn Einstein, learn analytic cloud, learn the Tableau. Tableau is also something they bought last year for about $16.6 billion, and they're still kind of integrating that. They just offered a couple of months back a new version of Tableau called Tableau CRM. Again, very brand new. If you have background in analytics or BI, that is the way to go in Salesforce. So So Salesforce is not just an isolated platform. It requires a lot of other techniques and technologies as well. And let's say if you have background in finance industry, you have worked in a couple of tools, you have worked in financial business cases, or whatever you have, then for you is the natural progression is, let's say you can go with the Salesforce administrator. It's always good to at least know about the Sales Cloud, because that's their base model. As I said, 30 to 40% of their implementation are in Sales Cloud. So Sales Cloud is a really natural way of going your first consulting certification, and after that you can straight pick up the certifications which are more related to financial cloud. So in financial cloud, it's always good to have Einstein, because Einstein is their AI module which can do a lot of analytics for you. So very good, you have the analytics. Then they have financial cloud. Again, obviously the best next after some of these is the financial cloud for you. And then there are other clouds that they have which can provide some support if you're very tech heavy, if you have done some integration in the past. MuleSoft is really good to learn if you are more techy, if you are a little bit more into hands-on integrations. So MuleSoft is great one. So now you are a consultant who have Salesforce background plus MuleSoft. Here you go, you have a very niche expertise. You can ask for the top dollars, because let's say if a company is looking for an expert who needs Salesforce plus MuleSoft, very few people able to apply for that position, and you can able to get the top dollar. So in Salesforce, there is one which is a more mainstream consultant who knows a couple of bunch of clouds, and they can do some basic stuff. So that's one. Another type of consultant is a very niche base. So you can develop your expertise in next 2 to 3 years in one of the clouds that you pick as your area of expertise. So you can pick, let's say, marketing cloud, you can pick financial cloud, you can pick health cloud, whatever you feel like is the area based on your background, based on your previous experiences, is the right way to go. And even sometimes if you don't like what you have, let's say if somebody's working in a financial industry, they don't like that area, and they are more interested in going into a different cloud, that's fine too. But just keep in mind that there's a more requirement for experts who have more experience, multiple integrations, multiple implementation experience in a particular cloud. And that's how you will start seeing the jobs in Salesforce. So they will say, we are looking for Salesforce consultant in financial industry. We are looking for Salesforce consultant with MuleSoft experience. We are looking for Salesforce consultant with Velocity, which is another acquisition Salesforce had very recently, maybe not more than 6 months ago in there. And then you have this new, which they just purchased last week for Slack, which is 26.6 billion, which is one of the biggest acquisition in IT for a long time. So they will say, hey, we are looking for somebody with a Salesforce plus Slack experience. Now, you will say, what do you have in Slack? So Slack provides the whole 360 customer experience. You can basically running your business online on Slack, like if you're sitting in the same office. So I have used Slack in my previous experience about 3 years back, where let's say we have one Slack group in development, one Slack group for managers, one Slack group for this or that. So basically, if you are in a particular Slack group, you are basically following what they're doing. They can mention you, you can get notifications. It's almost like you're sitting in the same office. And if you're working, let's say in the same office, you're different departments, right? So not everybody is sitting in the same room, but maybe in different rooms or different areas of the office, right? So it's the same thing. You have like immediate group that you're working with them. So let's say if I'm working with my team, so my team back then was Acumen team. So Acumen team was like, we have one group in Acumen team. So we are basically, hey, I need this, I need that. Let's go to a call. Here is your document. Here's the account. So everything I'm just basically posting and using it as we are sitting in the same room. Now, if my extended team or my other team needs something, they can ping me from there, and I can go back and talk to them. So it's almost like you are just walking in different rooms, and different people are saying, hey, we need this, we need that, and they can mention you, they can bring you in the conference call, so it's almost like they're creating this virtual office environment. And that is why they have purchased this Slack, because in future we need to optimize, because right now still it's, you cannot just have calls all the time, you cannot have all these meetings all the time, but you need a more granular way of still able to go back and track who is doing what. And if they need something, they don't need to call you every time, and they don't need to message you every time, but they can able to utilize these groups and stuff. So that's why the Slack is the new work environment that you will be seeing adopted very quickly. I would say next 6 months, you will see a couple of new modules coming out from Slack, which is integrated in the Salesforce, and then they are using it standalone as well. So a lot of these things are coming up. But again, just to give you an idea, Salesforce is not just Salesforce. In Salesforce, the next thing you will be start looking into in Salesforce, what would be my area? And there are so many other areas that you can pick up. So again, as I said, I also provide professional guidance services. That's a separate program. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can text me or call me, and we can discuss about that. So I have a lot of consultants who are kind of switching their areas, or within IT they're switching their areas. So they pick up that program that is like a more one-on-one, and basically we can work on based on their background, what they want to go, where they are at right now, and kind of give them a good milestone based future route where they can follow step by step. We can schedule a couple of upfront meetings, and then after the milestone is approached, and then continuously working with them, helping them how do they get into that. So if you're interested in one of those programs, they're obviously paid programs, you can always let me know. But on a high level, you need to, I would recommend that you need to find a coach in whatever area you are working, not just Salesforce. I mean, I think one of the biggest value proposition these days is because people do not really going back in universities, they're not going back to colleges to learn all of these things, but they are picking up these different courses, or you are going through different online courses, self-learned courses. But one thing, if you do not pick up in the meantime, is if you do not pick up a right coaching, either a coaching program or a coach who can guide you along the way, because there's so many paths available, there's so many things that you can do, and of course you can always explore them, but that will be on the expense of time and money. So what you can learn from your coach, and you can directly work on it without wasting the time and money, it is valuable, versus if you can spend 6 months and spend some money, and then you figure out, oh, this is not the right way, I need to proceed, I need to go into the opposite direction. So that's where the value proposition comes up. So if you really want to be successful, always make sure that you are opening up your wallets, you're opening up your time, because it is a very lucrative area. So any other field, if you go, you can start with $30,000-$40,000. In IT, you can start with 70, 80, 90,000 starting salaries. And if you really talk about with the experience 5 years to 8 years, you can easily earning upwards of $150,000 to $200,000 a year in terms of hourly rates. On a very average hourly rate, even on the beginning level, you are earning $40, $50 an hour. With the mid-range, you can quickly go within 5 years or less, you can go $70, $80 an hour. And if you are more experienced, more certifications, you have niche area, you are hitting the area where there are very few consultants in competition, you can start hitting 100 plus an hour, 150 an hour. I know a couple of folks in marketing area, they charge minimum $200 an hour, $250 an hour. Same thing with some other areas which are very discreet, and they're very powerful, and they can give like a huge boost to the client. So they don't mind, because some of these tools are used by billion-dollar companies. Most of the banks, most of the pharmacy companies, most of the healthcare providers, most of the big organizations, government organizations, they all are using some sort of CRM, and as you know that 20-30% is covered by Salesforce, so they're using it. So these big organizations, they don't mind paying big dollars if you have the right knowledge. So again, if you really want to be successful, it's not going to be like, oh, I get admin certifications, I go there and I can expend $200 an hour, start making it. It's not going to work like that. Obviously, you need to be a domain expert, you need to be a cloud expert, and that will come with the time and experience. But it's a very fast-paced environment. I have a couple of folks that we start working together like 2 years back, 2.5 years back, and from ground zero, they were able to become architect in under 2 years, which is phenomenal. You cannot become architect unless you are spending previously like 5 years, 10 years in a particular field. But because they were very like a very energetic, very agile, they keep switching their jobs, projects, or at least they get into a company where they can able to expose with different projects. Every 3 to 4 years, every 3 to 4 months, they are looking into a new project, getting new certifications, learning new techniques, things of that sort. So they will, and you don't need to be a developer to achieve that. As I said already, you can even do in terms of consulting, but again, as I said, you need to have something which not everybody have it. So today, if I talk to somebody in Sales Cloud, I may be able to find a lot of people who know Sales Cloud. But if I want somebody with the Sales Cloud plus MuleSoft plus Slack, I may have a very, very handful number of people who know these three technologies together. And that's where the big buck comes up. So if you have something to offer which not everybody can offer, you can ask the dollars that nobody is asking. So basically, it's a very straightforward rule: demand and supply. So if you have something which is there, and again, coming back to Salesforce, so for example, Velocity is their new cloud, Slack is an upcoming one, Marketing Cloud is a huge demand. Their Einstein platform, which is more related to BI services and prediction services and prescription services, is a very niche area, because again, it's not just about how to use it. You can able to configure them without even learning a lot, just going through a couple of days. But the real value comes in how would you really use that? What are the different KPIs that you need to know? So it's not just about if you think about Salesforce, not just about how can you use it, like how you can use the workflow versus process builder versus it, but also how much you really understand the business. Do you have that business knowledge, that the reason why you are doing what you are doing, how you can improve the efficiency? So it's not just about pure technical stuff where you get into this and arrange something. For that, obviously, you can get the average dollars, that's fine. But if you are really looking beyond that, and you can able to work in an environment where you can understand the processes better, and you can understand how you can implement, what tool to use, how to use it. Because one of the biggest challenges which is coming up is there are too many tools, there are too many clouds, there are too many things. So how you can find the right fit, right? So people who have that intuition, who can able to get into this complex system and quickly able to figure out the right tools, right techniques, they will be very, very successful. So these are a couple of the things. Now let's jump into what would be your next steps based on what you have just completed. So right now you have just completed just the technical part of it. So we with this 6 weeks, you have basically a very basic understanding of Salesforce. How does it work? How this platform is laid out? What are the different features? What is automation? What is the data data transfer technology or data transfer tools you have, and how the data modeling is done? What is security? How can you secure your records? How can you secure your accounts? And all of those things. So now let's say very quickly, if somebody ask me that what are the basic questions in interviews if you're going for the basic entry level position or things of that sort. So the areas are very well defined. They will definitely ask you a couple of questions about security, and it could be anything. Obviously, it's like a big area, but in security, they can ask you about how you can secure something, how you can assign something, how you can make sure that somebody can see, cannot see. What do you think, like where you can use profile versus permission sets? And again, not just the definitions. They need to know how do you really implement in the real case scenario. So you need to understand from understanding point of view as well. So that's one area everybody likes to ask question, which is security. Now the second, I feel like the favorite area is the data management. So they will definitely ask you, how do you import, how do you really manage the data? How do you import, export, things of that sort? What are the a few things that you need to take care of it? Then the other area is data modeling. Obviously, they need to know, do you understand how the data is modeled? How the database is set up? Because that's a fundamental thing. And then they can take it from there, getting into more advanced features maybe, which is obviously the business automation of the business processes. So everything else that we have learned, like workflow rules, approval processes, assignments, business process like flow, all of those comes into business processes. So then you need to know. And anytime you're preparing for your interview, make sure you're preparing in a scenario based answer. So if somebody asks you, what does it really mean by a security? So you should not answer just in terms of, okay, what is profiles, what is this, what is that, but in terms of a little bit more of a scenario based answers. Hey, I worked in this environment in the past. Even if you haven't worked, you can say, I set up this environment in a test or a dev version, and this is what the scenario was, this is how secure it, this is how I give some permissions, this and that. So every time you're answering something, if it is related to a real, like some sort of scenario base, even if it is not real, you can come up with the different scenarios, and that's how you should answer. And then you need to make sure that each of these components are well understood, well prepared before any of your interviews. Like one specific area is security, your data modeling, your data, your business rules, maybe a little bit about sales cloud, maybe a little bit about service cloud. And again, the best way to know what they might ask is the job requirement. So the job requirement normally tells you a lot about what are they looking for in terms of different roles, and based on that you can at least prepare. So you can prepare some generic stuff for every interview, and then you can prepare some more specific stuff based on the job requirements. So this is a little bit about how you prepare for the job. But what is the next step from this point onwards is, now, as I said, you already have a basic understanding of Salesforce. The next step is, in the next week or two, or whatever it takes in terms of your availability and time, at least go back and practice everything, right? Not just following the videos, not just pick up something, and at least you will be able to do something on your own without following anything. So let's say when you complete your practice, and if you've been asked, hey, can you create a quick workflow process? So without going back to your notes, if you can able to do that, that means that you are at least the minimal stage where you can able to do something. It's not like a very advanced stage, it's just the minimal stage. If somebody says, okay, here's the data, here's a 10,000 records, I need it to be imported in Salesforce, can you do that? And without going back to the notes, without going back to the video, without YouTubing it, if you can able to do that by your knowledge, then it means that you're good. You can always refer to the Salesforce documentation. I would say that is exception. So you can do that, but without going into like following somebody's process. You can always look into the Salesforce documentation. I don't think so there's anything wrong with that. But if you are going back and viewing some report videos or some documentation apart from the Salesforce documentation, that it means that you still don't know, you still just know some steps that you can go back and repeat. So it means that you are still at a stage where you cannot really do anything beyond what you have done already, or what you have followed. So you should be at a stage after this practice that you can able to do some basic task without exactly repeating the same task. So, and what it means is, without going into Unboxx property or Unboxx objects, but something else, some other object, if it is given to you, some other case that is given to you, you can able to solve it. Then the second thing, which is again, it's very, very necessary and very, very helpful. Again, you don't need to get too much into it, because I'll also talk about a drawback of Trailhead. But Trailhead is very addictive. It's like a game. So it's very good, very useful, but you have to have a nice balance. What happened is, because Salesforce, they design Trailhead in a way how you play games, right? So what is the games? Games can be very addictive sometimes. And one of the reason is because you're getting points, you're clearing some stages, and this and that. So you can get addicted to that, right? So Trailhead is almost basically designed as they design a game for someone. So a lot of times I have seen people who get too much engaged with Trailhead, and they just keep spending all their time in a Trailhead. So Trailhead is a good alternate, or a good platform for practicing, but it's not the platform. If you really not working towards your certification, so that's a problem. You can go ahead, do some trails, you can become even a ranger, you can spend some time, dedicate some time, but you need to be in a controlled way. And sometimes Trailhead is so good that you can get like overboard and start spending all your time in Trailhead. So that's probably not a good idea. You can do a couple of trails, maybe spend half an hour, 1 hour, on a daily basis, but not more than that. More than that is you can go back and you can do some other stuff. You can also try to find a job. You can also practice some more things. You can do whatever. So do not just sucked into a Trailhead all the time. But again, it's very helpful. And even in the initial part of your journey, you might have to spend a lot of time, more than an hour. So if you can spend hour, 2 hour on Trailhead initially and get to a point where you can get a Ranger, which is like 100 badges, would be really nice to have. Again, I did mention about our trail, which is called Beginners Admin Trail. So if you are on your Trailhead, you can go for the Admin Beginner Trail. I can see if I can open that up for you as well. I don't know, where did I save? Let me just. So if you go to your Trailblazer, you can basically go to, you can set up your profile. You can see what you're doing. Again, this is just a test one, so you don't see a lot of these things, but the one that you really use it, you can go there and then you can go to, you can go to the actual platform and then start looking for the trails that you're looking for. So again, whenever you go there, make sure you can understand what they are, how they are. You can start learning their different trails. You can find different trails. Their trail mixes is something different people actually put together, a couple of trails together. So you can view it. So everything is in there. This is like a one crazy platform which is free. I mean, there's no charge, nothing. It's all free. It has pretty much everything you can look for. So any new functionalities, any new feature in Salesforce, even if you know it, you can always go back. So here you have admin, for example, and then let's say that you have a beginner level. So here I already filtered out a couple of them for, let's say I want to look for this one, which is beginners admin trail. So here is your admin beginner trail. So if you just go with their trail, this has close to 10,000 points. So the way it works is basically it will give you an approximate number of hours. So think of this as saying like about 9 hours or 10 hours, but in reality, it might take a bit longer. So, I mean, in the beginning, you can maybe just double it. Again, you can judge it by your own. Maybe you're really smart and you can do it whatever they're saying in the same time. But I usually put like a cushion about maybe 0.5% more. So maybe if it is saying 10 hours, it might take for me maybe 15 hours, 20 hours, because I sometimes go back and look it up, things, and then I'm not sure, maybe I read about something. So it might take, usually it will take a little bit longer. So if it is says 9 hours, 10 hours, it might take you maybe, if it is the first trail you are doing, maybe 20 hours, maybe 30 hours, I don't know. But as soon as you start doing it, then you are getting close to these number of hours, and maybe you can add a couple of extra hours once you get hang of it. But here it will tell you everything once you finish it off. Make sure the ID that you're using, this is your official ID, because all your scores will be tagging along with that, and when you give the exam, that is also go. So make sure the email address that you're using is the one that you will be stick to it. So that will become your Salesforce ID, and attached with that is your Salesforce, attached with that your email address. So let's say if you're using your primary Gmail account, so make sure that you are logging into Trailhead with that. You're creating a Salesforce account with that, so you can keep that consistent. A lot of time people don't really understood that part, and they use different IDs for that. But again, that will, if you do some trails and if you do it on a wrong ID, then it will tag with that one. And I don't think so there's a way you can transfer that. So make sure you create your ID precisely with the email that is your primary email, or if you want to continue monitoring that email, and that is your same email ID that you will use it for your giving your certifications. Everything will be tagged with that particular email. So if you lost that email for whatever reason, you will lose all your credentials too. So with that, and as I said, you can start with this admin basic trail, and you can go with that. Then there's an intermediate, that's an optional, good to have. Then I have also put together some practice question locations. So in terms of free options, you have Quizlet, you have ProProfs, very good ones, you can get it. But keep in mind the answers may or may not be right. Maybe most of them are, but you never know. But there are some paid options out of that. My favorite one is Focus on Force. They also provide some details about the answer, and you can give them. Typically, they cost you like $20 or something, so it's not too expensive. Pretty easy. You can just buy. You can even buy their course on admin, and then you can buy an admin practice questions, whatever you feel like. So it's not too expensive. It's just a good, I would say, if you can spend $20 on this, this is a good way to start. And then you can review also Quizlet and ProProfs if there's some additional question that you don't have. And then you can always Google, and you can always work on Trailhead. So Trailhead also have practice questions. Again, some of them free, some of them paid. Trailhead also give you, I think, $10, $20 or $9.99, something like that, some practice questions, and they also provide some free options. So you can kind of a browse around. Again, as I said, just an easy one that you can start with is a sales focus on force, and then you can look for paid version in Trailhead as well. So some of those questions are really good. They provide some explanations as well. So when you are learning, you can also get an idea why this is the right answer, things of that sort, and then you can go back and re-practice them a couple of times. So as soon as you're done with practice, as soon as you have done a couple of trailers, it's not necessary you have to finish everything. You can start that in parallel as well. So practice question, you can always start at any point in time. As soon as you feel like at least you have basic idea, you can understand the questions, you can always start even now, because that is an ongoing process. Once you are comfortable, once you are hitting like 95% or more on your practice test questions, so anything lower than 95 or 100% to me is not a good start, because these are the answers, you already know everything. So if you can do it in 2 or 3 or 4 times, you should start hitting like 90%, 95%, 100% answers. So you can keep doing it till you get that desired outcome. So once you start hitting 100% or 95+%, then you can maybe look for some other extra. But that is the time where you can also start scheduling your exam. So the Trailhead, again, you can pick up 1 to 2 weeks. If you are doing it full time, then I would say 2 weeks is more than enough, and you should be start scheduling your exam after 2 to 3 weeks. And then, as I said, you can prep for exam again based on how busy you are. If you're doing it full time, if you're doing it part time, everybody has different scenarios. So based on your own personal timelines, you can schedule it. But I would say from today, let's say today's our last class. Ideally, if you can spend enough time, especially there are a couple of vacations coming up as well. So if you can spend, I would say you should be do not take more than 4 weeks for your examination. Anything beyond that is you're kind of start stretching it out, you start forgetting about stuff. So like 4 weeks to 6 weeks is your ideal time where you can even schedule. And when I actually, without start preparation, I scheduled it about 5 weeks out, and I schedule my exam, because then I have a hard deadline. Because usually the way people work, and again, I don't know how do you work, but even I used to work in the same way, that I first start preparing and then I judge how much I'm prepared. Unfortunately, that will never give you a comfort when you are ready to schedule. So you will study 4 weeks, and you're like, you know what, it's not enough. Let me study a little bit more, and then I'll decide if I'm ready or not. And then you're pushing your limits to like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. I have students who are now passing their certification who took the course in January, which is, to me, is not really an optimal way of doing it. Again, if it is something you want to do on a side and you don't have a proper deadline on it, that's fine too. But if you're really focusing on it, you're investing your time and money, you have a target in next 3 to 4 months, I need a job in Salesforce, then you have to be more strategic about it. So if you're one of those people who are basically planning to join as a consultant in next 3 to 4 months, then I would say you can schedule maybe 5 to 6 weeks and schedule it today. Today you can go in and say, okay, I'm scheduling. I know I haven't done enough practice. I know I haven't done the Trailhead. I know I haven't done the practice questions, but now you have a hard deadline. So you have a hard deadline of 5 weeks or 6 weeks, and then you work according to the deadline, not the other way around. Because by virtue of the human nature, we are lazy beings, right? So we always want to be on a comfort side of things rather than on a more you know, tougher side of things. So we always want to, if we can, we always want to give ourselves more cushion, more easy, so we can do it. That's fine. But you know that as soon as, let's say, I mean, I don't know how many of you have worked with a trainer. So let's say if you're doing exercise and if you want to do your own exercise or training, you can do 5 push-ups and you know, yeah, that's good enough, you know, for today. Tomorrow I'll do more. But if you're working with a trainer, he will kick your A and he will say, no, you have to do 10, you have to do 10. That's it. I don't wait. You can take a pause, but you have to do 10. So if you have you know, if a targeted, and if you are paying obviously for your trainer, you have to do it, and then you start pushing your limits. So in order to you to get the real like a purpose out of, or real benefit out of this course, is as soon as you schedule your exam, not when you're ready, because you will never be ready in some cases. But if you really want to schedule your exam upfront, and I would say even if you're doing part-time, 5 to 6 weeks is more than enough time. If you can spend 10-15 hours a week, now you're not taking the class, so 3 more hours are available on your disposal, so you can use that. So within 5 to 6 weeks or 7 to 8 weeks, based on how much you want to give your you know, more comfort situation, you can schedule it and then work backwards. Hey, I have 8 weeks, how can I do that? Let's say spend 1 week in Trailhead, let's spend 1 week in revising, and then I can go into my practice question. After 3 weeks, I've done everything, and then on the following 3 weeks, I can go and just keep practicing my practice question or whatever that is, right? So now you have like a forceful schedule that you can follow, and to me, you can achieve your targets much faster. Then if you want to schedule your exam, again, as I said, 4 to 6 weeks to me is good enough. Again, if you have something else coming up, or if you have some other commitments, I can totally understand. You can do it accordingly based on your personal situation. Then again, you can pay and schedule the exam. This is the location, web assessor. Again, make sure the email that you're gonna use moving forward is the email you have access. You can able to check it periodically. You have set up like maybe like a two-factor two-factor security, so in case if you miss it, you may have your setup through phone, then you can able to get your thing, whatever. Just make sure you have that available. This is the thing. Usually it will cost $200 for each certifications, but there are a lot of uh, courses from Salesforce. They provide some introduction course and they give you like 50% discount, or they can give you like a 70% discount, something like that. They're always out there. You just need to find those. I think there's another WhatsApp group. My WhatsApp group you can join. I believe this is the one. So you can join that. Sometimes people posted some deals coming out there. So there are always deals available, but again, I mean, they're for different times. So I know there's a deal where you can get like 50% discount, so instead of 200 you only pay $100. There's another one where you can get like a $70 one instead of $200. In some cases they just give you like a free one as well. I think they have some periodic courses running up, so if you find those, you can take those for a couple of hours. They can send you like a free course exam voucher as well. So there are different ways. If you are on a budget, you can find those one, but if you don't have enough time to look out for all those things and spend a couple of extra hours, you can just go ahead and pay $200 and get that going, right? After that, the next step is probably, I would say, you don't go into resume and all right now, because you need to focus on getting your certification first, getting your understanding first. But for whatever reason you want to go into the resume, the main thing is you need to first identify the role that you're targeting. So Salesforce is not just as a, okay, I want to become a Salesforce consultant. That's just a very vague and very high level position. What you really find in reality is a role-based positions. So either they're looking for a developer or admin or a business analyst or a QA or a project manager or an architect or a solution architect, right? So there are different roles in Salesforce. So I would say if you're starting in new, if you're not a developer, then your best bet is admin or a BA. So admin is, again, you don't find a lot of, I mean, there used to be a lot of admin positions, but I think they're now kind of trimming down because they realize that if I can hire a developer, he can do both things. He can do customization and he can also do admin job. And if I can pay like 10K more, let's get a developer. So, we will be better off. So unfortunately, that the admin positions are reducing as per se, but the business analyst position is actually on a rise. Because as I said, the main challenge in Salesforce and any of the CRM or any of the other clouds is to understand the business processes and translate that into technical. So business analysts are actually on a boom. However, there are a couple of other items that you need to know along with that, like you need to know some agile processes, some Scrum. You need to know a little bit more about some tools which are used to create. So if you know all of those along with the Salesforce couple of certification, you should be have a really good rewarding uh, profession as a Salesforce business analyst. If you have any QA background, like if you know some automation testing, that would be also super rewarding, because most of the automation are now moving from manual automation to automated scripts. And you need to know, what is that called? Um, there's a platform, I just kind of just slips from my mind. Anybody knows the automated testing? What is it called? Sorry, maybe it might come back. But anyways, if you know automation and if you have done some QA work in the past, if you combine that with Salesforce knowledge, and then you become a Salesforce QA, that will give you a huge salary boost. And also, there are very few people in Salesforce ecosystem in QA who know the automation and also know the Salesforce at the same time. A lot of QA people I know, I think more than 60-70%, they are strictly relying on the manual testing, which is basically going to extinct in next few years, right? Even right now, a lot of people are not looking for QAs with the manual testing, but automation. So if you can either learn automation or you already have that automation in your resume and you can add Salesforce on top of it, I can almost guarantee you can get a really, really high demand, because that's again a very niche area. I know a lot of people don't want to be QA, but again, it's very similar to a developer. You are also writing scripts, you're also writing that. And again, as I said, there are not too many people who know automation and they also know Salesforce and they are in QA area. So salary wise also, you are not too off from either of them. Business analyst, same thing. If you're just relying on Salesforce, not enough. Trust me, you need to know Scrum, you need to know Agile, you need to know some tools which are used in some of these SDLC processes. You need to know that. But if you get with the combination, you are good. Again, keep in mind, Unboxx Learning is offering some of those. So we just launched our Scrum course, which is a Scrum Agilist last month, and it's just a 2-day course. After that, you can get your Agilist certification, so you become Scrum Agilist. And then in the January, we are offering 2 of them again. So a Scrum again for 2 days, and then you can also do Certified Scrum Master SSM. That is also, and we are giving the most economical prices available out there. Both of them are $300 each. Out of that, $150 is just for the certification itself. So it's almost like cost to cost, because our main goal is so that people can get as much prepared for their jobs as they possible. So if you have Agilist, if you have Scrum Master certification, if you have Salesforce admin and maybe one more, now you're entering with your first job with 4 or 5 different certification, which even experienced people don't have. So at least they can beat you with the experience, but you can have some of these things. And if you can talk properly about those terminologies, that can be a big boost, and they can feel like, oh, this person knows a lot. And sometimes, because they don't ask you to do a lot of stuff on the interviews, you may able to easily surpass somebody with the experience with all of that extra knowledge that you are gaining. So again, huge areas that you need to work. And again, if you're interested in any of those programs, you can send me separate emails or messages or whatnot. LinkedIn is going to be your key platform moving forward. Make sure there are a lot of people who are providing very cheap services like $100, $50, $200 who can help you optimize your LinkedIn. If you take one of my courses, that is kind of part of it. So I can also walk you through some of those things, but whatever way you can come across, maybe go through some YouTube videos, whatever is your way to do that. Make sure that you know how is the title goes along, what should you write where, what should you not write, who do you connect, who you do not connect, how many people you should connect on a daily basis, how you can move your networking forward. Because most of these jobs, at least for my case, I got most of my jobs through LinkedIn. So if I have a really good, promising LinkedIn profile, kind of engage with a lot of people have access to my profile, connected with the right people, I can automatically getting a lot of job requests in my inbox, which is very cool, right? I mean, you without applying, if I'm getting my job request and they are interested in me, through recruiters, through other through other hiring managers, that would be super cool. So that is again something that you need to work in parallel. Again, always like a professional services is good route, but again, if you are on a budget, that's fine too. You can do your own research, but make sure your profile looks really, really good, very appealing, very professional, engaging with people, because the networking will take you to your next job. So just to wrapping it up, we are a couple of minutes over, but hopefully this is all good stuff. Again, as I said, your 50% goes with your technical skills and other 50% is everything else. So whenever you're going for a job, keep in mind that just the technical skill is not enough. You need to have other 50% also covered, which is your networking, your resume, your for example, software development lifecycle essentials, which I say you need to know Scrum and you need to know Agile, you need to know terminologies, you need to know different tools. So again, you don't need to be expert on those, but if you can able to deliver in a way that the hiring manager can get an idea that, oh, you know about a lot of these things. Yeah, maybe he's not having a lot of experience, but he is a good person. He has all around information about this stuff and he can be a good asset. So let's go ahead and give him a chance. So you need to get to a position where you can at least compete with people who have a lot more experience than you, or at least you can come along in a way that you are showing some extracurricular activities, which is not everybody is following. Again, as I said, not everybody has a SSM certification, not everybody is an agilist, not everybody has a really nice LinkedIn profile, not everybody has a good communication skills, not everybody has a really good resume. So you need to make sure that you are improving and you are continuously basically improving your chances. It's all about improving your chances. There's no formula. There are people who come to say, hey, you can take my course and I can give you a job. Most of that is BS, because what they do is either they are running kind of scam where they can have somebody else giving your interview and they're putting your resume for 8 years. This is all scam. Most of these people do not able to survive on a job for more than 1 week. And once you lose your job in that scenario, then whatever you learn and whatever enthusiasm you have, that all goes cold, right? Then you are like, I don't want to go there. It's like a stupid stuff. And not stupid because it is stupid, it's because the path you have took is not the right path. So always the right path is a little bit hard path, but this is the right way. And if you learn properly, you are aiming to get successful, then there are things that you can do along the way which will make you successful. There's a shortcut, to be very honest. I learn all the time. I spend a lot of time, and I see those people who are working, very rigorously. They become really, really successful in no time. And again, there's the opportunities there. Now you already complete the certification, so now it's totally up to you that if you want to take this opportunity, move to the next level, or maybe down the road you come back and say, hey, yeah, Salesforce were good, but not as good enough. I like something else. I want to go there. Sure, there are a lot of other platforms, but all of them require the same kind of dedication, same kind of work. There's no easy platform. Salesforce is comparatively easy, to be very honest, compared to AWS, compared to SAP, compared to other, and they might not have that. Like AWS may have more opportunities, but it's not that easy. I mean, that requires a lot of technical experience, and their certifications are more hard to crack. Um, because you pretty much working at the back end, and you need to be very, very tech savvy in order to work those environments. So Salesforce, because a combination of a business processes and a technical, so it's come in between a very technical heavy and totally business oriented. It's like come in between. So it has a lot of opportunities available. And that's why it's a good platform to launch your career in IT using the Salesforce platform. So I hope, you might have basically learn a lot. There's a comment about, let's just read that comment and close our session today. I had heard about the Salesforce and the endless opportunity. However, I was too intimidated of the whole ecosystem to pursue it with my own, as I have been a stay at home for never got around utilizing my business management degree. This class is giving so much motivation and confidence. Okay, so all good words. I won't repeat that, but just to let you know that the opportunities are out there. It doesn't matter if you have IT background, if you have never worked, or if you, whatever your scenario is, you have to start from somewhere. It doesn't mean that if you don't haven't worked in the last 10 years, or if you never worked, you cannot work in future. It doesn't matter. It's all about your enthusiasm, what you want to do into. I mean, I don't know if a lot of you might know, I have a different background. I came from a telecommunication background, and to be very honest, it has nothing to do with IT. It's a very different area. It's technically very different. To be very honest, it's very, very difficult. Actually, telecom is more difficult, but in terms of job, in terms of reward, in terms of options, it's very limited. There are actually just literally 10 companies in whole US, or in North America, maybe 20 companies where I can get a job as a telecommunication executive or engineer. And it was frustrating to be in a field for 14 years, and you cannot really grow too much, and you have a very limited options. And one fine day, a couple of years back, I was like, this is enough. I don't want to be a crybaby saying that, oh, we don't have more opportunities. Why my salary is so less? Why I'm not getting more? I was like, okay, I need to do something. I said, okay, let's look into up. I look into a couple of platforms. Personally, I like Salesforce a lot. I'm not saying Salesforce is the platform, but it is one of the really good platforms to pick up. I choose that, I learn it, I get my certifications, I did my volunteer along with my job. At no point in time I was jobless. I just do everything in parallel. I did my 6 months volunteer position along with my job. I get the experience, and then finally I able to land a really good job which actually give me a boost in my salary, and actually landed to a very good position. So I'm really happy with that. But again, was it come easy? No, it took me extra time, it took me extra effort. I may have skipped a couple of parties and whatnot, but again, at the end of the day, it did help me a lot. And then I able to initiate a couple of other initiatives from there, some startup stuff from there. And I kind of love it because it gives me a lot of opportunity to work in a different area. So whatever your scenario before, I don't really care. But if you are really focused on your future, this is a really good platform that can help you. Again, there's no magic thing that I can give you and you can get a job tomorrow. But if you really work in the right direction, if you're learning, if you're getting and picking up the stuff along the way, I can almost guarantee that in next 3 to 6 months, you can land a really good job as a Salesforce consultant, anywhere from 60 to 100K, or you can even able to get more if you already have some experience. So again, just wrapping it up, it's hopefully it's good. And again, as I said, you always keep a focus that 50% is technical skills and 50% is everything else. So never forget about your other 50%, which includes communication, LinkedIn, other certifications, your relationships, your networking. A lot of these things play a critical role in your getting a job and staying in a job. So technical 50%, 50% everything else. If you have that, if you hit about 70-80% of all together, you are very close to your destination to get your first Salesforce certification. So with that, thank you very much. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. I'll post everything as I normally post. Again, if you have any questions or something, you're still welcome to post those questions through WhatsApp. You can, if you haven't added to the WhatsApp group, you can please go ahead and add it. And then over there, you could also post questions or see what other peoples are doing. Previously, for the last couple of weeks, I have continuously people are passing their certification. So this is a good time. If you are ready to prepare, let's prepare it for the next 5 to 6 weeks, or 8 weeks, whatever is feasible for you. But make sure you are focused. A lot of people ask me, oh, if I don't do certification, can I still get a job? Maybe you can, maybe you can, I don't know. But again, can you able to defend the interview? Can you able to show off your skills without that? Then maybe by all means. But again, as I said, at the end of the day, you need to know what you are giving. How can you improve your possibilities? How you can give more, increase your chances. And again, certifications and other things and everything is basically building blocks of improving your chances. So it's all about, if you can improve your chances from 5% to 25%, you may able to surpass other competition, and maybe you can able to get a job. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe you need to get another 10% more. But wherever that comes from, that you need to know. It could be another extra Salesforce certification. It could be another volunteer position. It could be a little bit more networking. It could be your resume. I don't know where it comes from, but you need to be basically thinking whole 360. So it's not just one thing. It's not just certification. It's not just resume. It's not just networking. It's basically a combination of everything. So I wish good luck to everybody. And as I said, my goal is to make sure that you guys pass your certification ASAP. And if you have any question, always feel free to drop a line. All right. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you guys, and have good rest of the Sunday.
Thank you. You too.